Welcome to the Loyal Locals podcast. My name is Jerry Jimenez. I'm back just for a little while. So excited to be hanging out with you guys today for episode 59 of the Loyal Locals podcast. It feels good to do that, guys. All right, I'm just going to give it right back on to you guys. Drew, Steve, what's up, guys?
Yeah, man.
It feels so good. It feels so good to have you back. I'm so pumped up.
Just sounds right.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
It does. As much as Drew and I, more Drew than me, have kept the torch up. There's nothing like Jerry doing that intro. So.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I feel so special, you guys. No, it's good to be back. I'm so freaking excited to get into this. We're gonna be talking about the good, the bad, and the really, really good of this season 2021. No ugly, because we're all beautiful. Yeah. Everybody here is beautiful. No, I kind of want to let you guys lead the charge, man. But we can't. Can I do our original thing that we always did back in the day? It feels like so long. Can we talk about drinking? It's my favorite.
I thought you were gonna ask us what song this is like again.
I hope by now you know what song this is.
Yeah, My Town. Buckle 109.
I was muted. That was so good, dude.
There was a pregnant pause.
that was so good.
I know it was a little too long. I didn't like that at all. I thought, oh gosh, here we go. This is not going to be.
Oh, that was so funny.
And it feels good to be back. Obviously, like I said, but we can't get this started without. Steve, we got to take a shot, sir.
It's our tradition. It's going all the way back. We started this podcast, and I think through the first 20 episodes, we always took a shot, and then life caught up, and that happened every few. But this episode tonight, we're going to be recapping the entire season. We're going to go through the season in chunks, and then we'll do some favorite moments, some highlights, that kind of stuff. But in the old tradition of the Loyal Locals podcast, here's a shot to a cheers to you three and everybody listening and everybody who's a Locals member and a part of this community. Cheers.
Great season.
Cheers.
Ooh. What kind of shot you guys do?
Tequila.
Yeah, I did tequila. I did a white.
Oh, I did gin. Ooh. That was the wrong choice.
Gin? Ooh, you fancy.
It was what was in my freezer. Oh
my goodness. Well, this could either go really, really well or really, really bad. Cheers, you guys.
Either way, we're here.
Yeah. Oh, I got it in my eye. Ow.
My second beer, I'm drinking a Gulch by 3 Ales.
Nice.
And the Unnamed Soccer Podcast. Shouts to you guys.
Nice. Darren moved away from me to not give it to me. That's what I heard. I heard they had a 4-pack, but he moved away. He moved to IB to get away from me.
Wow.
But I'm drinking a Stone Fear Movie Lions FML. Kind of like the last. Jerry, what are you drinking?
Here, man. Society, pupil, keeping it, keeping it a solid, standard, classic IPA, San Diego IPA. I love this beer.
Just a solid.
Here's everybody that's listening. Obviously, go in the comments. Let us know what you're drinking. I want to know.
Give it up.
But usually
they're drinking a high Jerry.
It's like a high C, but it's way different.
nice try there, Jerry. Nice try. No, this is when we usually talk about club news, kind of what's happening. But Drew, you have a note here that there's no club news. We lost.
It's the first time.
I know.
Like every podcast, at least somebody gets released or there's a game. Yeah. But first time, no news.
This is just us, no news, except for maybe that loyal vote, Guido coming back, maybe. Some fishing there, something like that. That's some loyal news we're gonna cling on to and start the podcast with.
Yeah, we went through players who might be coming back last week. He's one to add to the list along with a mustache. Yeah, I guess.
And speaking of last week, I was in Idaho for a wedding, so shouts to those who filled in, Nick and Paul and Tom Blake, I believe. That was it was I did tune in for a little bit, and then I had to tune
just a little bit.
But yeah, thank you guys for filling in. Couldn't make it, so here we go this week.
Yeah, no, you guys did a great job. I was watching it. The four of you were amazing. So good job. That was really good. And so, hey, wait a minute though. You're talking about Guido coming back. Are we assuming that because of that poll, he's coming back? Because it's not official, right?
That's the question.
I saw that tweet and I was like, are they telling us something without telling us something? Because I know it's not official, like you said. Like the only official player that I know of that's coming back is Jack Blake. He's under contract for 2 more seasons, but I don't know. It was kind of like should I read into this or is this just a lighthearted tweet? I'm really not sure. This is kind of an interesting. How do you guys take that?
Well, Darren with Landon last week had an interview. Landon listed about 9 players who were coming back. So it seems like a decent core, but Guido wasn't one of those players. So that's what's kind of interesting.
Interesting. It is interesting that Landon would kind of come out and say that, but maybe it is official and they just haven't announced it yet. And you know, he's under the assumption that he could talk about it because it's if contracts are signed, that he could talk about it. But
that's what it sounded like with those players. But Guido, he said there was a few they were working out very close. They weren't quite there. He almost said the name like Landon does, where he's like, I can't, and then he didn't say anything. But that might be one.
And I think we'll get into that later from some Discord questions. I know Naku asked who are the key players to come back next season. So I think we'll leave that for the Discord section of this. But I think we should just jump right into it. Jerry, anything else to say before we kind of get into, back in April when we kind of kick things off?
No, we have a lot to cover. So I say we just get into it, man. Let's go.
All right. So we're going to, like I kind of mentioned in the beginning, we're going to kind of run through the season in sections. We're not going to go game by game. We talked about this. Jerry, me, and Drew talked about this earlier today. Like that would be a 5-hour podcast if we go game by game and, highlight by highlight. So we're going to go in sections. The first 4 games, obviously the first 4 losses, the next 9, that was our big unbeaten run. The next 7, again, kind of a rough streak. And then we bounce back again. The next 8 games, then the last 4, kind of a collapse. So I'll kind of kick things off with that first subsection. First game at Phoenix, April 30th. Just incredibly exciting. I actually got to go to that game. I was working in Phoenix a lot early this year, and I happened to kind of be in town. It just did work out. It was awesome to be there. It was awesome to see the team. It was awesome to support the boys. But obviously, everybody who's watching this week got our ass kicked. They really took it to us, that game. And it was a wake-up call, right? There was a lot of signings. There was a lot of hoopla in the offseason, and we kind of come into that game and go, holy crap, we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, it was one of those things that just didn't feel good to start the season that way. And then I think that was just the beginning of bad things to come directly after that, right? And we were feeling down after that game. And I don't know, the club was like, well, how do we make them feel worse? Well, let's lose the next 3 in order. I'm sure they didn't mean to do that, but I mean, it was a tough start. And I think that from the beginning, we said it in this podcast, Drew, we said, we have to start strong this season. We looked at the calendar. If we don't start strong at the end of it, we're going to struggle.
Yeah. And with Barry there, right? Beginning of the season, we felt like we have a chance. We can beat anybody with that guy up front. Yeah. Of course, we all knew what happened later in the season, but it was still surprising to look back at those first 4 games and think we just couldn't get done. Couldn't score, couldn't really do anything. And, what we became right after that kind of papers over it. But there was just kind of a lot of uncertainty that first month where it felt like if we don't get a win at home, this is going to be really bad because it just kept scaling every week. You went, excuse Phoenix. Next week, RGV. Well, they lost at the end. It was a wonder goal for a 45-year-old or whatever. And then they have Tacoma where you're like, well, that's a trap game, I guess. And then Louisville, they're really good, but it's like you get to the end of that and you go, you have to win. So that's kind of how I felt just through the whole thing was the pressure of needing 3 points, right? Kept coming through each match. And then it just pressure cooked over till we had our first home match.
Hey, you guys remember Nicky Jackson? Remember that guy?
What?
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going through the notes today, and I was like, oh, my God. He started that game in Phoenix. And I remember at the beginning of the season, there was a lot of talk of, like, he could be the player of the year. He just seems, like, electric. And I mean, man, he fell flat. He got loaned. I don't remember when he got loaned, but he got loaned away. I think that was his only start of the season, and it obviously didn't work out. But it's just kind of funny to go back. And then obviously another player that started the season with us, started that first game, was Thomas Vinekanzili. I believe
we didn't need how to pronounce it.
Yeah, he
wasn't with us the rest of the season.
He got sold mid-season too. So just kind of interesting that you look back on these things and you start looking at lineups and you're like, oh my gosh, that was this year. It's just it's 7 months ago, but it does feel like a long time.
Yeah, Van Kayzil.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you said that last part.
Yeah,
I don't even remember.
Yeah,
Khan. Hey, that's somebody. So Nick just said, remember a Khan. That's one of the.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, he was supposed to be good. I think at this point we can talk about it. I believe there was some visa issues from right from the beginning, and he just never actually made it onto the squad at all. I don't think he ever even came to San Diego, which again actually probably was a really big hit for what the plans were initially in the beginning of the season for the club, to have a player like that, right? Listen, Ebenezer Akan?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, something like that happens. Obviously, losing Van Kayzil, losing Nicky Jackson, who I was expecting to score some beautiful goals, and it
MLS pedigree. You thought he would have it.
With
just
with Colorado is who he used to play with in MLS.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't they go on to win the MLS last year?
They were doing pretty good. Yeah.
What a crazy thing! I feel like we've gone through a few players that
I got right here 210 minutes. Nicky Jackson this season.
Wow. Yeah.
That's gnarly. I would have guessed less. That's for sure. But I don't know. I mean, I guess that's just kind of how it goes. Anything else from those first 4 games? I mean, I think I'll just add, it was really rough. We said on this podcast, if we don't come back and win this home match, and then right after the home match, we played Phoenix away, which we'll get to in the next subsection. But the kind of the chatter after those first 4 games is landed up for this. Like, I remember talking to you guys about that. Like, what if this isn't right? You know what I mean? Like, what if coming off that 2020 season, it was kind of working and now it's just not, and things were not looking good. Things were not clicking. And all their comments were, stick with us. And we did. And boy, did they prove us right.
I do remember distinctly after the second match, we were like, if he loses a third, we should start questioning him. And then after the third, we were like, we'll give it another week. And it was it was that whole thing. But when we came back, it was huge. It was everybody getting to do the thing we weren't able to do the whole last year, is come in, be in Torero together, kind of go through the new protocol, feeling it out. What's it going to look like? What's it going to be? But it was, it wasn't March 7th, but it was this beautiful release, and I think marked the beginning of what felt like isolation for a lot of us. And that was, to me, what was so exciting. But the players in the field, I think, also felt that too.
Afmer says that he misses Herzog and Para. Irvin Para is one of those players that is just fantastic. Now, obviously, he did some big things over in Charlotte. Moving over there was the right thing for him. I just don't think that his style was working here. Yeah. And also, I know that Para is just very, very passionate, a very passionate player. And I think to an extreme. And I think that kind of brought the downfall. And pretty much wherever he goes, that's one of the bigger things that I've seen, at least. He has a very hot head, but he's a fantastic player, and I think he just needs the right support around him. I don't think that was the right situation here in San Diego for him. He did great in Charlotte. I mean, he scored a ton of goals for them. And then Herzog too. That's another one that maybe we can get into later on. That was an interesting kind of all of a sudden the last few games we really didn't see him, and
ghost.
Yeah, that was weird. But again, I think that's part of USO and the fun of it, right? It's just so many stories, so many things to talk about as we go through. Now, we talked about the 4 losses, right? Those were all away games. It was already from the beginning. We knew it was going to be tough. We knew we had to get some points, and we didn't. We come home, we win against Las Vegas, which was like, all right, finally, and then what happens right after that? We lose 2. It's like, what is going on? And those were away. Again, we just could not get it done away games this year at all.
I would
Like
well,
throughout the entire season.
I'll say we didn't lose two. We drew two. Drew two away. We drew to
Oh.
Phoenix and drew to OC.
Oh, sorry,
They were not.
dozed off.
They weren't dubs, but it was not. They weren't losses.
Did we
Yeah.
win any games away?
Did we win any games away all season? Yeah,
I believe one or two.
we
But
beat
not
LA.
many.
We beat LA twice away.
That's right.
Also,
There you go.
Both times this season. But those subsequent games. But yeah, talking to the next kind of section of games is the 9-game unbeaten streak. I'm just going to run through them super quick just to list them out. It was Las Vegas at home, our first home game. Phoenix away, OC away, bus trip. We'll get to that. LA at home, Phoenix at home, Vegas away, Oakland at home, Sacramento at home, OC at home. Those were the 9 games. And that was in total 6 wins and 3 draws. So really, really, really good stretch. And the tide turned really fast after on this podcast. And I think the tone surrounding the club once we started picking up a bunch of points, right? We had just talked about how, man, those first 4 games were so rough. Nothing seemed to really be working. That Vegas game was awesome. The Phoenix game away, that was the game where we were winning 2-0 going into stoppage time. They scored 2 right away and ended up drawing that game. That was a heartbreaker. But at the same time, we played excellent, right? We took it to Phoenix in Phoenix. So that was like such promising signs that we could do this. The match after that was the bus trip. That was amazing, but did draw that game too. But my point is, while it was 1 win and then 2 draws, it wasn't like, win, win, win. The point is we started seeing the promising signs of good soccer. And then we saw that right away. That came to life in the next 4 matches with 4 wins. So just the next kind of to start that next 9 games was just amazing. Drew, Jerry, what do you guys think about that next section?
I think for me, that 9 games really reaffirmed this is our style. We're going to play this style. We're going to commit to the form. We're not going to be doing anything that's, not that.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about the highlights or lowlights of the last section this time. The bus trip. That was kind of the first locals away days, first locals on tour trip. That bus trip was just absolutely incredible. Anybody who was there couldn't say much, anything negative about it. Just an amazing time. So shouts to everybody for making that happen. Special shout out to Victor for doing a bunch of work to make that happen. Anything else on the bus trip? Jerry, Drew, you guys were both there.
I love that bus trip because it was, again, an affirmation of something we wanted, as locals. We didn't get the previous season and it was there. And for me, I like the second one just a little bit better in some ways because it was like, it almost felt like we had a purpose and we were going to do it, even though we didn't accomplish it. We had like a clear vision of what we were trying to do, right? So I felt like it was a little more relaxed. I was relaxed personally on the second one. The first one was just like a crazy ride where it's like we're strapping these people in and we're making it up as we go.
Sit down, shut up, move on.
Jerry was the best DJ you could ask for, and otherwise, that was that first bus trip, and I think the second one was a little bit more regimented, but it was fun to go up there, and we felt like we could have gotten the win right in both of those games, and that's what we'll, I think, reflect on here at the end of the season with OC was we just felt like we left points there, and it came back to kill us, right, a little bit, and so that's what I'll kind of reflect on, I think, from a 30,000 foot view, but from just a memory standpoint, like that's the stuff you'll remember is that kind of thing, and for me, that either one of those I'd say is one of my favorite away days, but. That was a pretty fantastic bus trip.
It was a Wednesday.
Jerry, any memories?
It was a Wednesday.
On your...
It out. It's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably my favorite part of this season, honestly. And I can talk a little bit more about it, but you mentioned me DJing. Like I had so much to drink that. Oh my God.
We all did.
I don't think I've ever been as loving with my dad went on a trip with us. I don't think I've ever been as loving with my dad ever. Like,
you guys were.
I love you, Dad. I love you, son. It was like the greatest time ever. And like I had no idea that Lydia could sing that way. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. So yeah, that definitely it's an absolute standout. The trip itself, like the game was, it was good to be there and stuff, but man, like I can't wait to do it again. I was so sad I couldn't do another one right after, but it's one of those things that will always stick with me. Then I think with anybody that was on that trip, it's gonna stick with you. You're just gonna, dude. Like, we just bonded over the entire trip. It was great.
Yeah, that was just. We talked a lot about it over the 2020 pandemic, like away days. We want to do away days, and we finally got to do one as the locals, and we'll talk about that more as we go on to here. But that was like first one, and what a fucking time, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I'll keep us going through this little stretch here. The streak was before I get to the streak broken up. Something in between, we had the Xolos match against the Xolos, and something that we talked about was what a banner kind of a thing, right? The first professional outdoor team in San Diego history. Well, in the recent history, obviously soccer is way, way, way back when, but in recent history, playing our cross-border brethren. So the Xolos, that was a great match. It was obviously an exhibition. Obviously we did not win that game, but just what a good time, right? Like it was like a celebration of our region, and that was that. I'm always going to remember that day as just a special kind of a moment for us.
One of the things about that match too is we got to see some young faces. We got to see May. We got to see Xavi. I think
Fodry.
Fodry scored, right?
No, it was 1-0. It was 1-0.
The next, I think a game or two after that, though, he did.
Yes, Fodry scored against. Oh man, I have it in my notes.
But that was the debut, right? That's where we felt like we're seeing him.
This is when CJ scored. But that Xolos match, also one of the big highlights of that match, and probably one of the things that makes me really excited, and hopefully he will be back, is I would like to see more from Anthony Siaha.
Yeah.
I think that was a fantastic match. And he also get man of the match that game.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah. He didn't see any more minutes this entire season because Austin, stepped up and did an incredible job. But yeah, there was a lot to be said about Siaha. He got a half of soccer at home against a top class opponent, and he made some amazing saves enough to earn man of the match. Yeah.
And he is one of the names that Landon did name. So Siaha is coming back apparently, along with Guerrero. So we'll have both of those guys back. And
nice.
Again, Siaha was that guy that got a little bit buried, it felt like, with Muse, with Dylan, with other options coming in, a keeper who maybe had a higher pedigree or played at a higher level. They were more willing to throw him in. But it seems like Siaha is that guy who's still in practice, is putting it in, and hopefully we just get him more on the field. And from what we saw there, those saves, I wasn't there, but the highlights I watched was like, oh my god, it was like he's the real deal. And I've seen him play before too. He is just a incredibly physically gifted keeper who does stuff like a Spider-Man, right? Where you're just like, how does he do that? It's pretty cool. So and we're blessed. We've had great keepers here. I don't think we've had a bad keeper for San Diego Loyal. So he's keeping that going. How
could we mention the month of July without mentioning Drew's Italy trip, right?
Oh, yeah, I went to
I went to
Italy. Well, we should talk about 619 Day first. 619 Day, because I did do that before I left. And actually, it was mostly in August that I did leave. But, so 619 Day was, the culmination, it felt like, of not post-pandemic, whatever you want to call this period we're in, where we've gotten to a place where we can go outside, we can be a society, we might have different rules, but that's how we operate. It felt like we had finally reached a point where San Diego had done its job, we had gotten vaccinated, we had done all the right stuff, and we could have a party to celebrate what that felt like, right? And that for me was 619 Day. That's what it felt like. It felt like a party for everybody to be involved. Jerry, what did you feel like at that party for 619 Day?
Dude, it was so cool. It was so cool to see the unity of everything. Obviously the community, seeing our mayor, who I absolutely love, and is such an awesome person, to be there and be so excited to, partake in what we were doing. And I think we brought it that day. There was a lot of people there that day that wouldn't normally be at a game, and I think we made lifelong fans that day, I would say, because there was a lot of eyes there that normally wouldn't be. It was just because the mayor was there. I believe wasn't that also the that was the opening of the Pride section right next to us. So the Loud and Proud section. Yep. And
that was the first game. There was no restrictions on attendance either. So that was the game that we kind of opened everything up. And I don't want to say no, masks weren't
Masks were not mandatory. Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't like, everybody has to wear your mask. It was kind of like, wear it when you're not eating or drinking, but it's not as strict as it was before. Before it was, very much like everybody's self-policing, and now it's a little looser than that. Because like you guys said, we did our part. And again, shouts to Tom. I think we've done this a zillion times for doing the, helping us all out with the volunteer stuff, getting us vaccinated. But yeah, that 619 Day was just something to remember. Obviously, Juneteenth, we did a big Black Lives Matter, banner that we hung the rest of the season, and we did shirts that that we sold that day with our BLM crest on it too. So
yeah,
just kind of spitballing memories on what we're talking here, but.
Yeah,
what a damn good time.
That was probably one of my I'd say top 3 matches for the year, if not number one. Right, just the vibes, just the feeling, just the people. It was everything we missed right from that previous year, and to me is up there with March 7th as a great night for Loyal. And as you said, so a night we made a ton of fans, a night that will define what we want this group to be. Right, is nights like that. I think in a lot of ways, and just the general love and support that we put out there. That's how it's supposed to be done. And as we went through the season, I will say some of these, the play on the field did not reflect how we did in the stands. I think we continually got stronger and stronger throughout the season. I think we ended very, very strong. I think we have a foundation to leave off on. So that's, kind of our season recap from our section. But that was where I think we started to kick it up a notch and, kind of Emerald, spice it up, threw some hot oil in the pan and got it going there on 619 Day. So
little did we know. Little did we know it was going to get tough. Right.
Whoops.
On the field. For us, it was great. Like, we kept it going, but
yeah.
It got a little rough right after that, didn't it?
It did. Yeah. So I'll say that that hot stretch ended on the 24th when Phoenix came to town and beat us. What was that? 1-0. We just couldn't get one in that game. And that started a really pretty rough stretch for us.
Dude, it felt like a roller coaster because it was like,
it was
like, what is going on? Where are we? What are we doing?
So let's talk through that roller coaster real fast. Lost to Phoenix, lost Tacoma away, win LA away. So that was 2 losses, then a win. Okay. Then ride back 2 losses, but both these losses were at home. This was Real Monarchs, Salt Lake City, and then Tacoma. Tacoma we had struggled against the season. Then Vegas at home, we did win that game, and then another loss at home against OC. So loss, win, loss, win, loss. So out of, what is that? 7 games, that's 5 losses and 2 wins. And that's just a really rough stretch. There's no draws in there, but that's just a rough stretch. And yeah, roller coaster, like Jerry said, but no consistency in results. And after a 9-game unbeaten streak, that's not what you want to see.
Oh gosh, this is something that we should look up because this is probably going to be a really scary stat. How many points did we lose the last 10 minutes?
I think
part of this whole issue with this club this season, right there.
1904, an SD San Diego amount of points. There you go. How many points we lost?
I will say I think Alan from the Fairweather podcast did do this research. I think it's on their Twitter account. So go look that up. I think I will check it out myself because I'm also interested. But
I block out traumatic information.
Want to check it out? If you want to check it out, I'm pretty sure on the I think it's fair_pod. Sherry, is that right? Yep. Fair_pod. Yep, I think they did that research, and I think it was not an insignificant amount.
Gosh, now I gotta go check.
Yeah,
it was not an insignificant.
Too many is the real answer. Yeah, that was my thing. Watching a lot of this was bad habits started to creep up that would eventually kill our season. Losing to Orange County, having tough games against Tacoma, who should have been somebody we picked up points against, and we can say good riddance. Have fun in MLS Development League. We'll never want to see you again, Tacoma. But it's one of those things where Orange County was just our bugaboo the whole season, and with good reason. They've done well in the playoffs. They're a hard team to break down, but it just seemed to be that's the one we didn't expect to be tough. But they really just gave us fits all season in a way that. Yeah, in a way we couldn't play them well, and just every game we came up against them, I felt like, what's happening here? Like, it just never really made sense, right? Every time we went into the game, whatever we were doing and whatever they were doing, it was almost like, just totally two opposite forces, and we always came out the other end, unfortunately. But
yeah,
that was
For OC, we earned 4 out of 12 points this season.
Yeah.
Four points. 1 home win, 1 away draw. That was it.
Yep.
And that's against a top team in the Pacific in our division. You've got to do more. And we can run through some more stats later if we want. I really don't want to get in the weeds here, but
that's a good one.
But yeah, like I said, we have kind of been flying through a little bit of highlights or lowlights. We talked about the struggling time, but in this stretch, we finally kind of had that game where we said, all year we've been talking, on Discord, on this podcast, just in person in the section and amongst leadership and just conversations like, when are we going to get that game that we're just going to kick somebody's ass?
Dude.
We're finally like, we've been winning all these games all year, 1-0, 2-1. Like, when are we going to finally take it to somebody and say, no, we are fucking San Diego loyal and we are here to play? And in this stretch, we finally beat Vegas 5-1. We beat Vegas 5-1. We finally did that, but it kind of wasn't enough to pull us right out of that stretch. Well, maybe it was towards the end of the stretch. It was August 18th, a Wednesday. We did lose the next game, but then we went on another good run, which we'll get to. But yeah, we finally kind of took it to them 5-1. And in Vegas, we took all 12 points this year, won all 4 games, but we finally had our game where we just had a party in the section, right?
I need to talk about this game because it is by far my favorite, and I know that we're probably going to talk about our favorite games, but I'm going to do it right now. It was this one. It absolutely was. It was at one time when the team actually looked like cohesive. It looked like the team was having fun, like they were enjoying each other. Ibarra scores the first goal.
Yeah.
And then Ibarra is selfish on the second goal, passes it back to Jack Blake. Beautiful ball from Jack Blake goes in. And then right after that, Moshabani comes in, scores 1, scores 2. We go up 4-1. And then in like 14 minutes of gameplay for CJ Audrey, scores the 5th goal, and just everybody loses it. He comes and the first thing he does is celebrates in 109. It was just like such an epic night at Torero Stadium because it felt like, okay, anything is possible at this point. Like, we might be able to pull this thing off. You know, that's what that game felt like.
I specifically remember when we were doing man of the match voting, like, okay, vote for your man of the match. And we don't have like a system where it like tallies it up. I just kind of look and I tallied in my head and I was like, there's a lot of people right here. I do have here Toomey won man of the match that game. But yeah, I think there could have been 5 or 6 players that could have won. We had that early goal by Ibarra, like you said. Jack Blake scored, Toomey scored again, and then CJ scored that goal in the 88th to make.
That's what I just said, Steven.
I know. I'm just recapping all of them.
It's my favorite game. I do know exactly what happened. And
that was the only game that made me regret being in Europe, guys. It's the only game. Because we lost the other 3
now. Yeah. So CJ ended up, I think, running the San Diego We Are that game at the end of the match.
That's badass.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and before we get off the CJ thing, all the games he didn't dress, that guy was in our section, singing with us. Like, I remember the first time I looked over, and it was early in the season. I looked over, and I kind of like looked, and I was like, I think that's CJ. I think that's because he's a kid. He's not going to be all over social media. He's not going to be all over there. He's not Jack Blake. He's not one of the main players, right? He's training with the team, but then I kind of looked over. I was like, I've seen that guy. I think I know who that is. And I kind of like gave him a nod, and then he was there next week. And then I think he started dressing for the team. And then a few weeks later, he was there. I was like, dude, that was so cool. Like, I love that he was there when he wasn't dressing. Supporting his players, his brethren. So, CJ, shouts to you. That's so rad.
And I have to mention this too while we are on talking about CJ, because not only do I love that guy, I think he has a very bright future in the sport if he keeps going. When we were at the team signing at Stone, he actually said, Jerry, right? And I almost lost it. I was like, yeah, man, what's going on? And I was like, yeah, you remember me? We had some conversations before that, but he started asking me about the podcast and what I was doing. And he was like actually interested, and he watches this podcast. So if you're listening right now, yeah. What's up, man?
Well, he'll like my next point I want to make, but go ahead, Jerry.
No, he actually he listened, and he listens to you guys and listens to when awesome. To everything that we do. And he's very much involved in the community. I don't know if he's watching anymore, but you know, at the point, like he was legit asking me about the podcast, and I was like, wow, this is.
He's
very
listening to
cool.
all those Aztec soccer podcasts now that are around town. So.
Yeah,
But the thing that I was surprised by coming out of this game, you know, watching it from afar, but I thought coming back we were going to have more kids playing. That's what I thought, right? And we did sign Augie Williams just kind of after that next Orange County match, but or actually just before. But the question for me was, you know, Fodry looking good. He scored, you know, obviously came on late, but still scored in kind of a party match. But it did feel like they got the kids on there. But it did, if they're putting kids on during matches, you would think, hey, they're being productive, they're doing stuff, maybe mix them in a little bit. Were you surprised the rest of the season to not see any more either, you know, subs? You know, there was a few, but a very select amount from the select program there you go, from the select program. Did you want to see more? I wanted to see more. That's what I'm saying.
yes.
But were you surprised that there wasn't at that point, I guess?
Yes, for me, yes, absolutely, 100%. Steve, I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like the reason that didn't happen was because we had so many ups and downs throughout the season that really, you know, Landon's mentality, just win. That we need a win, and we were never in a comfortable spot to say, hey, this game, we can afford to put in some of the youth and play them. It was never like that. I think maybe game, it became clear that we could play some youth near the end of it. But I mean, I feel like if we would have had more games where we were maybe up 2-0 in the 60th or 70th minute, he would have put in some of the youth a little bit more. But we didn't want to take chances, I think.
I feel like Ian and CJ, they did a great job, but I feel like they almost played out of necessity versus playing out of comfort, right? Like CJ got his moments and his minutes in that Vegas game when we were up 4-1. He subbed in and then he scored, right? Right after that game, we got Augustine William on loan, right? And then it was like, sure. Well, you know, CJ, you're doing great, you're in training, but now we have striker tapped, and same with Ian at center back. Like we had got some people back, we got some people healthy, so it's kind of just a thing that's more like I feel people got healthy again, so that we didn't play the youth as much as we were. But yeah, I mean, going forward, I'd love to see that more, right? I'd love to see, instead of subbing on Douglas Martinez in a 3-1 game, sub on CJ, right? To get him some more experience and get him more ready so that we can call on him when it's in a critical moment, because it's so hard, like playing him in San Antonio, for example, and we'll get to that game, but like that was never going to happen because the moment is so big. But the more experience you get in the regular season games, the more you're ready for that. So I feel like I agree that they stepped up and they did a great job, but at the same time, the professionals got healthy again, you know, and then they got the minutes. So
yeah, right around, I think it was like in late August is when Augustine Williams came in, right?
August 20th. Yeah, I pulled that. Well, I didn't. Shouts to Sean Duffy. He pulled that number for me. August 20th was the day that he was announced.
There you go.
So right after kind of this stretch that we were just talking about.
And then not long after that, actually really close to the end, I think like somewhere between the 20th and the 30th of August is when we had Douglas Martinez come in too.
Yeah.
Right around that time. So there was a lot of changes. And also, actually, Jason just said it too. Larraz was one of those players that came in too. And man, did he make a difference as well.
He was a little early. I know he was a little earlier in the season because I know he won man of the match on the 14th of August, along with Corey, because I know Oliver wasn't 21. But so I know he was in camp kind of on the team before August. Obviously, August 14th was when he won man of the match. I don't have the date that loan was announced, but it was, he Larraz is a huge acquisition. There's no doubt about that.
Quality for sure. Yeah, let us know. Send us comments. I see a lot of you guys having conversations. We see you. Want to give shout out to Jason, obviously. I see you, Duff. Nick is in here.
I just dropped off a little bit. Did we talk about Nick's comment, which I think was spot on, which is also the fact this isn't the EPL. This isn't a major league in the sense that kids should play, right? I think we could play kids more. And I think that
good point.
As Steve was saying, the balance is hard because when you get late in the season, the points mattered a lot more, right? So it was harder to throw them in and have them fail where maybe something bad, would hurt the rest of their career. Although the league itself, I feel like they're more X factors, right? You don't know what you have quite yet, so why not try that out versus a player who maybe is just going to give you always, they're just a B- performer, so that's what you're going to get is just that kind of performance out of the role, or maybe something that's just more dynamic. That's where for me, I think I'd like to see that a little more. But great comment, Duff Man.
Yep, and here's another point that kind of adds to that.
Yeah.
Jason, right? We keep getting our shit kicked in by Tacoma's squad of 16 to 22-year-olds. Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
We got beat by like a 45-year-old, so I feel like age is a number.
The counter there is we beat LA all 4 matches this season. We took 12 points. So, and they obviously play 16, 18, 20-year-olds too. So there's a counter there, but I also do agree with the discussion that's going on because I think there was a little more room for it overall. But here we are.
What are you doing, Drew? What is this? Look at this.
I don't know.
There's 2 Drews now.
Oh my god.
2 Drew.
2 Drews.
Somebody take them off.
No.
All right, so let's move on. Let's move on to the second to last section here. We're already at August 28th here. This is when things kind of turn back around. Sacramento, August 28th. Sacramento away. We take that win. We take that win 3-1. And then that kind of starts a really good run for us. We do Sac away, we win. LA Galaxy away, we win. That was a big game. 4-2. Oakland away, we draw. And then Sacramento at home, we win, or 1 win against Sacramento that year. Oakland away, we lose. Vegas away, we win. I'd like to talk about that game a lot. And then LA Galaxy away, we win. I'd like to talk about that game a lot. And then Sacramento at home, we take that win as well. So that's a stretch of 8 games. We get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. So that's kind of turns things back around in our favor. And this is right up my alley where I'm going. Let me start making some calculations and start doing some playoff odds.
All right, I'm just going to take myself out real quick. Hold on as I do that. I haven't pushed the button all night, so I just had to do that real quick.
You had to. It was too good.
Right.
But yeah, this stretch was super fun. This is kind of the stretch that you start feeling it back. You start saying, well, we just had a really rough stretch. But Augustine Williams, obviously, we just talked about him coming on loan. And he kind of started right away, and he did a really, really good job starting up top, playing not just as a target man, but kind of as a link-up guy too. So he kind of like, I'd say a poor man's Josie Altidore, but, at this level, that's not, you're not expecting that, but I think kind of a similar play there. But from my perspective, this stretch was super fun because this kind of started my traveling time with the club. I was at the game September 11th at Oakland. That was a really, really fun away day. That was a super fun away day. Obviously, that was just a draw. Then back home for the Tacoma match. Then we turned right back around. We did not go back to Oakland, obviously. Then we went to the Vegas game. That Vegas game was just epic. It was obviously just the result 4-2, but the entirety of the weekend, we had a really good group there. Shouts to everybody who traveled for that match. I could go on, but I think we want to move on and get to other stuff. But yeah, that Vegas game was just absolutely amazing. And then we turned right back around, went to LA, took points from them as well. So that was kind of it was a fun month. It was a busy month, but it was a fun month of kind of following the team around.
Yeah, dude, I'm so jealous you were able to do that. And that's some of the best part of the best of being a supporter is being able to go out and do the trips, the away games. We didn't do as many probably as we wanted this season, and hopefully more to come, obviously. But that's super cool. I loved seeing all the pictures and everything, and also the team itself really loves that, seeing a familiar face, and you were that familiar face, I think, for a lot of the time. So that's really, really cool.
Yeah. The Oakland match, it was me. There were a few others that lived up there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a lighter crowd, but they all came over and said hi after the game. And kind of same thing with Vegas. Well, the Vegas was like fireworks. It was different, but I know what you're saying, like the familiar face. It was cool, like especially in Oakland because they were like right there. You could just kind of tell that it meant a lot that we were there. So shout.
Sure. So where do we go from here?
So the final stretch was kind of the collapse, and I kind of hate to go here, but we should do it real quick. We should do it real quick. So the last 4. So good to have you back, Jerry. The last 4 games of the season, that the kind of the collapse. We got 2 draws out of 4 matches, 2 points out of 12 potential. New Mexico at home, OC away, second bus trip. Oakland at home, and then Sacramento away. And I don't have much to say about this stretch. I feel like we've done a podcast after each of these episodes detailing it all out. But I will say, I just when that New Mexico goal went in, it just kind of deflated me, and I just feel like it deflated the entire run we were on and the season we had going. And it proved to be true. We could never really get it going after that, right? It was a great game, and that goal they scored was a great goal, and they just we couldn't recover, right? Just in that game, obviously it was too late, but for the season, it just totally took the tires off the car,
I feel like it was one of it's just so crushing, obviously, and this one's for Jason right here. See if I can make this happen real quick. Oh, maybe I can't. I'm just for as we talk about this, like this is just gonna be playing in the background. So the last 4 were the collapse.
Yeah.
That and it's hard. It's a hard situation to be in because I actually kind of like the song is so good. New Mexico is a great team. I mean, they're a good team. The supporters are a great supporters group, and we're friends with a lot of them. And it was like a difficult thing where we're like, good game. We don't want to be, jerks or anything, but man, that sucked. And for them, it was like, yeah. So it was like a really weird thing. It was like, that's great for you guys, and I don't want to like hate because that was such a great goal too. But that was like such a heartbreaking moment, man.
Yeah, and I'll say you mentioned New Mexico. I'll say shout out to the New Mexico supporters. They came out in full force, and they were great people to kind of pregame with. They brought it, so I just want to give respect to them.
They travel like Green Bay Packer fans. God, so many. It was like I haven't seen numbers in town like that since
they
had NFL teams coming to town. It was pretty cool. Good for them, and good for New Mexico to have such a team that they love so much. They don't have anything else over there, and that's what I love about New Mexico. They got the Isotopes, they've got other stuff, but this is truly theirs in a way that nothing else is, and they love it. And they didn't make the playoffs. That was maybe their big going out on the season. A lot of them say, hey, at least we got that one in San Diego where we came back and stole a point there on the road. So it cut us, I think, a lot deeper than they realized. But that felt like the beginning of the deflation of the balloon, right? Was that point, and then you end up keep going down a path where it almost felt like a inevitable thing here at that point, to not control your destiny and not have the ability to win your way through to a playoff match.
I'll say we still controlled our destiny with the next week, which was at OC. If we won that OC game, we guaranteed ourselves a home playoff game. And what happened? I mean, OC. We'll talk. We're already 50 minutes in, so we should really wrap this up. But our second bus trip, just an incredible time. Kind of basically the exact same trip, exact same pickup spots, exact same timing. All again on a Wednesday. Still sold out the bus.
Had the Vader theme this time. We had Naku Vader.
Shouts to Naku and Duffy.
Shouts to our stormtrooper with authentic New Zealand voice acting.
But we still did control our destiny, right? The New Mexico game was deflating, but it was, hey, let's turn it around, pick it back up. And OC got a goal and a free kick, and we could never score. And again, we talked ad nauseum to these games. I don't really want to go back in depth, but it was a hard game to swallow that we lost that. Still, things were looking up, and then we went had Oakland at home. That was the 4-3 game. That was a nuts game when we kind of came back. They scored that late PK. Just a heartbreaker again. But that I don't know. It's so hard to say. It's okay because it's not. We wanted to play from that intensity from the start. At the same time, they had some bangers of a goal that game. Obviously, we had one own goal. They had 2 killer goals, but I don't know. I don't want to go back into it as I go back into it, but it's hard not to find yourself in the weeds.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with you on that, and it's something that we should probably get past because we are getting out of time. But and then, man, so like, can we just finish the regular season?
Do it.
Is that cool?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Kill it. I did get asked. It was from in Orange County that we had after the Orange County match. Terra Mia Pizzeria. Jason, I believe, asked. So there you go, Jason. Answer to your question in a timely manner. Jerry, finish this off.
No, I don't know where I was going with this.
I'm sorry, I threw pizza in the conversation and it just imploded the whole thing. But that was my favorite memory of that match was eating pizza afterwards. So, as well as the entire bus trip, but smoothed over. Kind of like when you're a kid and you have a hard baseball loss, and the parent takes you for like an ice cream or a treat at Pizza Hut. That was kind of what that felt like.
I was trying to find like the final stats of 2021, and I swear I had it, and now it's changed it, and I can't change it back because it was the 2021, and it keeps showing me the 2020 record instead. So I'm reading this thing right now.
Look in the private chat, Jerry.
Oh well,
there you go.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, so final season,
my life.
End of the season, obviously, got third in the division. In the playoffs, obviously incredible, super hyped. The airport send off, that was amazing. Thank you for everybody who showed up. It was just a really good time. You could really tell how much it meant. Landon's interview on Darren Smith's show was really rad. How he talked about, I've been in professional soccer my entire life, but that's only happened a handful of times. For us to kind of be a part of that, for us to make that impact on him, obviously everybody knows who Landon is, but we're talking about that made an impact on his career in the sense, like that's pretty rad. So that was cool, obviously. And then I don't know how much we want to go into the San Antonio match. We did our own podcast review of that game, but
FML.
They really kicked our ass. Yeah, they kicked our ass that game.
Well, I don't think we should talk too much about that. Obviously, that's 2-0. The regular season ends up, and thank you for this, Steve, because I was failing over here. Sure. We end the regular season with a record of 14-6-12. Not the greatest, to be honest. 48 points, not bad.
That's a lot of losses.
13th total in the entire USO Championship, right? 13th place. Not a great place to end, honestly. Our home record ended at 9-2-5, which is painful.
I mean, yeah.
29 home, 19 away points.
5-4-7, like what the heck?
We did win 5 away, so we did better than we thought earlier. But they weren't big wins, right? You always felt like it was just kind of like, oh, well, I guess we won that, but we need the points, I think. But yeah, as you're saying, it did feel like there was just one or too many losses, especially in the closing minutes this season.
Yeah, not good. Let's see here. What else we got? The goals, 51 goals scored. But here's the problem: we had 43 against. Right. Like we for some reason could not. We got maybe our car washed twice this whole season.
Ooh, how many?
It's a great promotion by Soapy Joe's. Good job by them to be like
stoked.
They went to practice and they looked at our defense and they're like, "We're gonna do good. We'll do fine." But the thing is, we had good defensive players all season. Josh was one of our best players, right?
6.
Yeah, and so it's hard to think that, but it was just hard to keep a clean sheet most of the season, I think, and that's whenever you're leaky a little bit, a goal or two is going to sink the ship here, and that's what seemed to happen at key times. And presence is just as important as tactics, as preparations, and it just felt like in certain games that presence in that last 10 minutes or so, or maybe the last second half just faded. So it's tough to see. That's stark, Jerry. Those are hard numbers you're throwing out there. Those are not over easy.
5 clean sheets. I finally found it. So it was 45 goals conceded.
5?
Yeah, 45 is what it says officially on the championship site. 4 penalties. 1.4 per game is the average. 5 clean sheets. Now let's talk about some good stuff though for the end of the season. That would be some of our better players. So Tumi Moshibane, obviously being the goal scorer of the season with 10 in 30 appearances. One that surprised me, and I was hoping that maybe Augustine Williams would come back, obviously on loan from Galaxy 2, but in only 18 appearances for Augustine Williams, he hit 6 goals. So, something definitely to be proud of. Alejandro Guido, too, as we're talking about players, 30 appearances, same as Tumi Moshibane, came up to 6 goals as well. There was 3 players that scored 6 goals. Can you guys name the third player without looking?
I'm already looking.
What a jerk.
Sorry, I was looking through a bunch of players here, and I got lost in stats while you were talking. What was the question? I was like Haji. Oh yeah, when was he? I was checking Haji's stats over here.
Let's challenge the commenters. Let's challenge the commenters.
They're gonna
that's a better idea.
They are already looking at stats.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Following along with us because they're a bunch of.
There you go.
It was Corey Herzog. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Corey Herzog scored 6 goals in 31 appearances for the club.
I was trying to find a meaningful Hunter Ashworth stat, but there aren't any. Sorry.
Hunter Ashworth. Man,
I think we should play "Remember Me" from Coco whenever we talk about these players. Remember me.
Yeah.
Because we're like, oh yeah, that guy.
I wanted to play music, but then Nick was smart enough and reminded me, hey, you're gonna probably get flagged by YouTube.
Oh, we will totally get pulled by Disney.
Oh yeah.
Try that. Even me just singing it, whole thing's gone.
I don't think so.
It's too close. I was pitch perfect there. I don't know what you're talking about.
Sound like a 10-year-old pubescent Mexican kid.
Remember me.
That's weird.
Too good.
Oh gosh, here we go. Now
I will say, it's maybe a good segue into our next kind of segment, which you talk about some of our favorites. Yeah, and I think I'll just kind of go out there and say my player of the year, the person I voted for man of the match, was Charlie. And I'll go into why in a second, but I do want to acknowledge, Jerry, you mentioned Toomey was our leading goal scorer with 10. Toomey did win the locals man of the match. We did that at the final game of the season. Mm-hmm. You could tell how much that meant to him. He, just so deserved. He's made such an impact. Obviously, coming from USL League One, from Lansing with Nate, he's progressed so much, so well. He's such a fireball off the bench, and when he starts, so it was very, very deserved. But yeah, I will mention a few others. Nick, like you said, Yara had an amazing season. Yara was second. And then from there, we had a lot of other, we did this through SurveyMonkey. SurveyMonkey polls and kind of does all the math for us.
It's like ranked choice,
which is really rad. Yeah, it's it's exactly ranked choice. So it's not who got the most first place votes. It's first, second, third, because it was so hard to pick one. But yeah, Yarrow, I believe, got the most first place votes, but he didn't win because he, like Drew said, ranked choice. But a cool thing we did at the meet and greet, Nicole really pulled all this together. So shouts to Nicole.
Yeah,
love all the work you're doing.
Oh, that was a ton of
really
work.
pulled this together. We ended up.
I'm slow on this, but this for Nicole.
We ended up pulling all the reasons why you guys voted for the players you did, and we gave them to the players. And one of the coolest moments of all season, and I don't want to not mention this. I'm going to go here. We gave the paper to Guido, and we said, hey, so you had a lot of votes, and these are your reasons. These are the reasons people said. And Nicole and I were walking away, and we were just talking or whatever, and we kind of looked back, and he was reading the paper, and he was kind of smiling to himself, and I was like, that's really cool. You could tell that it meant a lot to him that we did that. We give it to Colin. He got a bunch of votes. Yarrow, Guido, Austin got a bunch of votes. So we pulled it together. So the words you guys wrote and voted on did reach the players 100%.
Yeah, and that's a big thing of what we do here, right? Is we involve ourselves and make them feel us. and that's a big part of it. So
Right.
that's really cool, man.
So I'll go. Let's go into the next segment, kind of here, where we're saying kind of the favorites. Favorite match, favorite goal, favorite player. I think we'll start with favorite player because we're kind of on that topic. I think my favorite player this season was Charlie. He started and played in all 32 matches, and that's something to be said about that. At the number 6, that's a ton of work. That's a workhorse. He's, we say Zizo is our captain and is our captain, but he wasn't a critical member of the squad. Playing a whole lot of minutes. So Charlie was really the captain this season, and he was definitely my player of the year. And it's kind of weird to say because I think he won 1 man of the match this year, but at the same time, when you just have such consistency, it's man of the match. I feel like you vote on the peaks, right? Toomey has a great game and you vote him, but Charlie's like all the way up here the whole season, and he got 1 game where he did it, but that just big shots to Charlie. I don't know if Landon mentioned him in that interview that if he'll be back or not, but I hope so because he's such a rock star.
Drew, is he? You know the list. I didn't hear it.
The list
of players.
The list of players. Charlie's on there. Yeah.
Nice.
Charlie's on there. Jack Metcalf is not. That is what's interesting. I think
Okay.
he's the one name that most people look at the list of players.
Still
Toomey's
recovering.
on there. Toomey's obviously on there. Josh Yarrow is not on there.
So let's go to you
I don't
guys.
believe. So for
Who's your
me,
favorite player?
my player of the year was Toomey. That's who I voted for first because I believed he was the player of the year. But my favorite player to watch was actually Guido this year. Even though he had almost what would be a disappointing season based on how we pitched him at the beginning of the year as a club. The club said, hey, we're going to pitch him as a 10, as a
L10, yeah.
wonder. L10. And he really ended up playing L8 by the end of the season. So L8. But it was good to see a player who could have thrown it away and said, screw this, I'm going to go play somewhere, or I'll sink into a shell, I'll just bite it, and then I'll go play somewhere else, or I'll force it, I'll try and get it, and it just didn't work. For me, that was what was cool about watching Guido, was to see the progression and see him go back to a position he's played a lot, but still find a way to be a contributor and somebody who can contribute in a way that's meaningful for this club, even if it wasn't working where he was at. And it takes a lot to do that, especially when you are in such a crucial playmaking role to do something like that. So for me, that's why I was excited about Guido and watching kind of his arc this season. He was my favorite character, if you will. If this was a TV show, he was the guy I liked watching the most. But that was me. Jerry, who do you like?
Well, first of all, yes, Steve Brokoff. Elijah is a man. That is correct. He's absolutely a man.
He is a man.
You know what I'm saying? He's a man. He's a
the man.
workhorse. Yeah.
So Drew, I'm gonna agree with you. Guido for me. I will only add, because you pretty much put it perfectly to how I feel about him as well. I'm gonna add this to why I love Guido. I challenge you to find me 1 goal this season out of the 6 goals he scored that was a fluke. All of them were beautiful goals. The guy, first of all, his passes are perfect. And whenever he actually put the ball in the back of the net, it was very intentional, and they were all amazing goals. So, Guido for me.
I think he could have had another 4 to 5 this season. I'm thinking of 2 or 3 right now, right in front of us, and in 109 that he had open looks and maybe he scuffed it a bit or didn't go where he wanted to. I actually asked him about that at the meet and greet, and he said, man, what I was thinking after one of those is like, I got to get it back. And that was one of the games where he came back and then scored another one there. But he's that guy who just, he's got that. I'm hoping he comes back next season, right, with the stash and has like a Toomey type year where he upgrades and then is able to get some more goal scoring along with that back to forward play. Sorry, Steve.
And one of the things I'll say about Guido too at the meet and greet, I talked to him a lot. Nick just put this up, and I'm going to steal the show here. My favorite player was Jack Blake. He totally vibing. I feel like Guido did too, right? He like, right. And I love his humility, right? He used to play with Cholos, and he's like an MLS. He's almost like an MLS quality player, but he's just totally bought into what we're doing here. That it's not like I'm too good for this. He's here to play, and I love it. I love it so much. He has such a good rapport with us on Instagram and Twitter, that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's a lot to love about what he brings, and God, I hope he's back too.
Yeah,
Sames.
Ooh, Favorite goal.
But I feel like
Oh,
I
I'm
feel
sorry.
like I was gonna say I feel like if Jack Blake didn't get hurt, that would have been a really tough decision. He had he had a big injury stretch this season, and I feel like if he played all year, he almost would have been a deadlock for me.
Cool. Moving on. Just so
Yes.
that we can.
Timing.
I don't know. Do you guys want to do a little bit
keep
of
moving.
after hours?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
We can maybe
Let's
just
keep-
contribute to that a little bit more too if you're here watching with us.
Let's still hit the points.
So I said favorite goal. Favorite goal is the next
Let's
one.
do that.
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't have a favorite goal. I have a couple of favorite goals.
All right.
And I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget them. But I have a few. So one is the goal against Las Vegas back in May from Guido. I don't know if you guys remember that goal. But he megs a player, takes it to the right, tricks one of the players and makes him turn the wrong way, opens up room, and just right foots it in the left corner, like perfectly into the east end at Torero. And that was like a beautiful, beautiful goal.
Yeah.
The Miguel Berry goal versus Phoenix, the one where he hits it off of his chest, brings it down, past him, and then like off.
That would be mine.
Okay,
I remember that one.
Woo. And I don't want to like go through these and then it's one of your guys' favorite goals. Obviously, the last one is the other goal in that same match.
Ooh.
The Jack Blake goal that was another banger.
Oh, the banger. Yeah.
They end up
Like bangers only.
They end up tying us that match. I believe it was 2-2, and they were celebrating like they won the World Cup, and we were over here all sad because we scored two beautiful goals, and we should have won that game. We just could not hold it together.
I remember that banger. That's a really good shot, Jerry. I did not remember that one when I was going through my memories of the goals, but now that you said that, that was a banger. And I remember that celebration where he was doing this, and Ryan got that awesome video. Yep. Yeah, that was dope. That was so good.
I think most of Blake's goals, just in general, fit the top like 10 of our club. Mostly, like every goal he scored was right there because they're bangers only, right? So I can say anything from Blake, and then that Barry goal was my favorite, just to see him doing it again for us. Like, oh, the Magic's back, we got it. Obviously, we all know what happened a few weeks after that, but for me, that was like, oh, we can go anywhere this season, right? We've got him the whole year. We can go anywhere, and now he's doing it in MLS, which is cool, and that's really, really cool to see. But it's one of those things where like you see how next level he is already at this level when he's able to pull off the footwork he is and stuff like that, where it's just so fluid. So it makes it Barry, what I love, and Blake too, and Guido to that effect. They make it look easy. They make it look so easy, where it's not easy at all. But they just make it look so fluid.
The comments are still both my thunders here, but that my goal of the year clearly is that sexy goal against Sacramento at home, where it was like a Barcelona 5-touch from the keeper goal, right?
Yeah, that's what Nate watches at night to go to bed, right?
Yeah,
like to make him happy. Yeah.
Like a pass out of the back, a header to a midfielder, a slot to Guido. Guido carries the ball forward like a ball carrying 8/10 does, and he threads a perfect ball to Douglas Martinez. Douglas Martinez rounds the keeper and scores the goal. I mean, that I think that video probably has hundreds of thousands of views on Twitter, but that is like perfect soccer. That's like that's textbook what you want to execute. That goal could be watched on replay time and time again. And then my runner-up would be the Colin Martin banger at Oakland. We did lose that game, but that was a volley from probably 30 yards out that just found the bottom corner. So that'll be my runner-up. But my clear goal of the year is that Sacramento, kind of that tickle your soccer loving fancy goal.
So I swear that I had seen that goal and I thought it might have been a dream, and I was trying to find it. I was trying to find it as I'm doing obviously preparing for this, and that, to me, that goal is probably one of the most beautiful goals I've ever seen too.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Beautiful. Like how it was a team effort. It was a whole
entire
team effort. So yeah, cool. Awesome. Let's keep it going.
Let's go. Favorite match, guys.
Okay.
You want me to go first? I'll start this off.
Yeah, go for it.
it already been mentioned here in the comments, but my favorite match was home against Orange County. I think I have it here, July 14th. We go down a man, down a goal, and we come back to win 10 men, 2-1. And I think that there were better games of 109, right? I think as the season went on, 109 became more, it got better and louder and more unified, and we really brought it towards the end of the season. But that game, like those last 30 minutes when we came back to win that game, I don't think I've ever heard 109 be that loud.
Yeah.
And that intense, that much celebration. We were going insane. And I love the fight out of the club too, right? You're down a man, but you don't give up. We could have easily scored that one goal and sat and bunkered, but we didn't. We attacked and we won. I love that. I love the mentality. That is clearly my favorite game of the year.
I'm gonna go a little different, and I already said it, so it's gonna be faster, and then we can finish with Drew.
Yeah.
On this one. I already said it, 5-1 versus Vegas. I think that game was such a beautiful game because it felt like a cohesive unit. It felt like we were getting things moving, we were getting things going. Again, Ibarra shows up finally. I think this is one of the ones I was the happiest to see Ibarra play at his full strength, right? Scores the first goal right away, gets that beautiful pass to Jack Blake. And then those two beautiful goals from Moshe Bane. And then, of course, to add on, the cherry on top of this beautiful 5-1 cake was the CJ Fodry score at the end of it. It just really felt great also in to be a Torero for that game. Although, obviously, that Orange County comeback, I think, is everybody's favorite. But I wanted to add a little different to it. So
I like it.
I won against Vegas. Drew.
619 day to be different, but yeah, the OC comeback was great. I did also like the win against Sacramento at home. Our last win at home was also kind of a nice thing as well. I thought, kind of felt like a really just good match in the section, just really good vibe and kind of slaying some of our demons right before they came back to haunt us, honestly. So we didn't slay. I guess we slayed them and then their kids came back to haunt us right after that. But that to me, 619 day was definitely it. And that was a memory I'll have after this pandemic and all that kind of stuff to say, like, this is what you fight for, this is what you do it for, is for stuff like that. And that kind of felt like that to me.
And I'll give a shout also. I'm gonna give a few shots here. Vegas away was just amazing. I talked about that a little bit, but that was an awesome game. And I'm also gonna give a shout to when we beat Phoenix at home, right? Because they had come and they showed up and they talked a lot of shit. And we beat them. We punched them in the mouth and we beat them.
And their fans threw shit at our guys. Yeah. Right.
But I will say that was a 2-1. I remember Jack Blake scored a killer goal on that one too. So I will give a shout out to that that game as well. Anything else there, Drew? Anything else?
No, man. Those are great games. Those are really my favorite matches and some of the favorite stuff kind of in there in the entire thing. So is there a moment that possibly stands out to you from this season in terms of an on-field moment, a non-field moment, or a moment from 109? I'll kind of throw those all in there. You can choose one or three.
Ooh.
For me, my favorite non-field moment is definitely the bus trip, for sure.
Yeah.
Just having all our people together, both bus trips, I guess, and then to some extent, just tailgating at LA was cool too. Just to have our people up there rolling up and caravan style. I think those were my favorite non-field moments, if you will.
That's a good shout. The LA away trip was actually really fun, and it was really pulled together last minute.
Totally. Yeah.
For those who we only got tickets a few weeks ahead of time, so it wasn't a planned thing. It just kind of happened. But that was a fun trip too. Yeah. Moments is a hard thing to pull together. Because you can say favorite match. The 2-1 comeback wasn't really a moment; it was a match. I will shout. I got to give the shout out to Joshy with the crossbar challenge. When that dude went up, when Weston approached me and he said, "Hey, we're going to do a crossbar challenge. We want you guys to have some guys come up." We had a few people who wanted to, and then we recruited some others. We had a few guys, a few girls, and then Josh was like, I really want to. I really, really want to. And I was like, okay, dude, okay, you can be here at this time. Go for it. And then he stepped up, and I remember thinking to myself, I was standing there watching, and I think to myself, he's gonna do it. I know he's gonna do it. And nail it. It wasn't like a dink either. It was like he like slammed it against the crossbar.
He nailed it.
He went nuts. Like that was a really. I mean, it was halftime. It wasn't like a moment like during the game, but like it was kind of like he's been around, right? And he's been all in all year. And to see one of our own go out there and just nail the crossbar like that and celebrate like he did, that was fun. That was really fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, moments, karaoke, on the bus, that kind of stuff. I will say, through the off season, being really secluded, being at the game on the 30th in April against Phoenix, kind of seeing Landon, seeing the team. I know, blah, 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 humble brag, but it was cool. It was cool to be there personally. And then finally, my last point I'll make on the moments, and then I'll let you guys talk a little more, was that first growler, the first match, being able to, Guido, man of the match, we won, finally beat that 4-game unbeaten streak. And then being able to give that growler out. And then also kind of just looking up and saying like, man, we're back. We're back. Here we go. Here's this season. Here's everything we've kind of always wanted. I just kind of remember being on that patio, getting on that kind of platform right there, getting that growler away, kind of going, that just happened. This game just happened. We're back. We're back for this season, and nothing can stop us now.
I think for me, just again to be a little different, but honestly, all of these moments it's always going to be with me. But every time we played a game where we went down and 109 got louder is my favorite.
Yeah.
Like every single time we went down, we got louder in 109. And I'm so proud of that. And everybody was more than willing to. Like it was a quick, oh damn, okay, let's keep going. And immediately just, we just, I mean, it goes back to that game, right, where we did the comeback. And we willed the team to a win, and you can see the power that supporters group has. And I will forever be grateful for everybody that adds to that noise, man. Because God, man, it's not an easy thing to do. Your spirits are down. Obviously, you want to win. You want to see your team win. You're losing. You go down at home, but somehow you find enough strength to get louder. Like that's epic to me.
Yeah.
Let's shout to everybody.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say the match where we went down 3-1. That as a moment felt like we can still do this, and I don't think I looked at anybody who thought we couldn't do it, and that was like not a great moment, and that whole game ended up being not great. But when we equalized at 3-3, it was like that moment was just like we willed this to happen,
and that was the last.
This happen.
That was the last game of the season against Oakland, right? It was 3-1.
Yeah, exactly.
We came back. Augustine scored a great goal. Corey scored that goal, and then we gave up the PK. But yeah, I totally agree that I feel like we were a big part of why we came back.
Why we were even in that game? Yeah, we had no business being in it. Totally, and that was as Jerry's saying. I think that just anytime I had that, or we could celebrate a goal, and I could hug Craig. He's just such a force of nature. We're a row or two away from each other.
Dude, he's a good hugger too.
Dude,
he's a great hugger. Just solid hugs, man.
Shouts to Craig. That guy goes nuts. He's nuts, dude.
My spirit. He's my spirit friend.
I know.
There for sure.
I will say, Naku, great point here.
That's an awesome moment.
I remember being there on or close to Father's Day. I got the chance. My kid Bryce has been there at every match. And my wife has been absolutely amazing to kind of watch him while I do my Presidente duties. But every once in a while, I took 45 minutes and held my kid, and those moments I'll never forget. There's a lot.
He looks
cool
really
pictures,
happy in the photos, Steve.
Dude, that's his happy face.
But
you see when
he's got a great happy face. Those aren't the moments.
He's got resting Bryce face. Yeah. Being
able to bring my son into my life, into my passion, has been amazing. Resting Bryce face. That's great.
He's a great drummer too. So he's a fantastic drummer. Yeah.
But I'll pass it to I'll just say being able to hold him, in the moments in the I'll never forget those there's a lot of great videos and pictures that I've seen of us that are going to go in the picture books forever. Jerry, I know you brought your kids a bunch this year.
Yeah.
Diego and Elias being able to drum with you and share the kind of these moments. I'm sure they're special to you too.
Absolutely. I think that's the best part of all this thing, right? When we started this thing, the one thing that I kept saying over and over was, we're going to build something here together that we're going to be able to someday, as old men and women, sit back and watch our kids lead. And it's happening already. And they're like in their,
they're 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So like, what the heck is going on? And also, this is a really good segue into this one right here. Shout out to the wives that put up with this. And all the wives that join us even more, because I know that all of our wives have joined us and deal with this craziness. So shout out to, and some of them actually enjoy it and love it.
Wives, partners, husbands,
yeah,
dogs, whoever whoever the officers' partners are that have been putting up with us, leaving them or taking hours out for this volunteer thing. So. Shout out to anybody who's supported us while we're supporting. That's for sure. The hardest job, for sure.
Yeah, dude, it's not just the 3 of us; it's the 6 of us. Because it does take a lot.
Yeah.
And it's not just the 15 people in leadership; it's everybody behind us. Because it's a sacrifice.
And their kids, and their spouses, and all the families that kind of go into this, guys. So I appreciate the sacrifice. That your families are slightly larger than my nuclear family, so I appreciate it. And it always is something where I know stealing time away. You're stealing time not just from. So your significant other, but your kids sometimes there. So it is always that tough balance, right, to try and find space for that. And it's so anybody who's willing to put into this, that's what we do. But then we do it so you can have that space with your kids at games and create that space that's pretty incredible that that they can go to that didn't exist 2-3 years ago. We didn't have this, so that's why we do this, and it's pretty special. So anytime I see that, and especially somebody like Paul's son, who I've known since he was born, pretty much, it's really cool.
Little Parker.
It's really cool to see Parker and Bryce and Jerry see Diego and
Ellie.
Not so much Ellie. He always gives me sass. He's the best. But he's very sassy. We're clone trooper friends, but yeah, he's it's so cool to see these kids and any one of your kids, and see you guys all bringing your kids there and waving flags and getting them involved and doing stuff. That's what it's about. So more of that next year for sure. Season in review. Great job, kids.
Yes.
A+.
I will say we've avoided this point in the past, but we're going to go here now that we're 82 minutes in. Final thoughts on the season. I want to finish off here. So Jerry, Drew, why don't you kick it off, Drew?
I'll give a really quick final thought. I think this was a natural progression. I think if we would have had a home playoff match, I think we would have won it. I think that was the difference between us winning and not winning, was having a away playoff match against an opponent who's been incredibly difficult at home and is a tough team to play in terms of the style against our style. And so that to me was, I think, the one thing that we could have done differently to maybe get like an A+ grade. For me, it's like an A- B+ if you're going to grade the season, or say that 4 out of 5 stars, but a 5 out of 5 in terms of expectations, always like a championship, but or somewhere close to it, like a final appearance or something like that. But I think a 4 out of 5 is pretty apt, if not like a 3.5 out of 5, right? If I was rating this as an Uber ride at the end of the season, I have 4 stars. I'm usually a 5-star guy, but there was a couple moments there, a number of losses that could have been draws. I think that to be a hard, just look at the hard report card. That's how I look at it. But overall, the memories, the ability to have a season, since we've been cheated out of actually having a season as fans until this season, even though we had a club last season, which was wonderful and something that sustained us a bit. It was special. It was magical, and 5 out of 5, 6 out of 5 stars just for having a club. And thank you to AV and anybody who has put all of their efforts and resources into making this happen, and everybody at the club. Thank you, because this is something we wanted. But in terms of performance, 4 out of 5.
Jerry, please.
I think for me, my final thought is going to be just that, we We could have done better. I feel like we left a lot on the table that we should have completed a much better season than what we did. Honestly, as a team, I think that also there was a lot of things that plagued us and that weren't part of the plans in the beginning of the season, and so it was very difficult to actually get to where we needed to. I do believe that there needs to be some changes going into the 2022 season. I think that as a club, there will be some changes. It's something clearly is not working when it comes to being able to finish games off. Uh, but it's almost there, and it's an improvement. That's on the team side. Now, on the supporter side, I'm going to agree with Drew 100%. I do believe that we honestly did like a 7 out of 5. It was an amazing time to be able to hang out with everybody again and to be at matches this year and to actually bring the noise the way that we did was just so amazing to see everybody there. Every chance I got in between playing the drums, I would look back and look underneath and look to the sides of me and just see all these happy faces and all these people joining in the chants, or at least trying, and it was just really, really cool. Now we have a long way to go, and I think this is going to be better and better and better and better. But this season as a whole felt like a win. Uh, the On the field, the product maybe wasn't a full win, but honestly, as a whole, the club, the supporters, the culture, everybody that was around this team this year, and everybody new that joined us added so much. Can't wait to add more, man. That's really my final thought. Is cannot wait to see how much better we can get next season. Steve, final thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I'll kind of wrap it up here, and the first thing I want to say is thank you to all of our members and all of our listeners and all of the loyal supporters. It really takes a village, right? If me, Drew, and Jerry and Daryl started this back in 2018, 2019, and we had this vision, and we got to the point in early 2020, and we got nobody joined. Then it was just a pipe dream. But our dream kind of became reality when you guys all bought in, right? It takes a village to create what we've created. And I said this a long time ago, like the village we have is amazing. The village that we've created in the community we've built together. And I don't just mean leadership, I mean everybody, right? So Taylor and Jason and Nick and Corbin, and I'm not going to name out everybody here or everybody who's contributed, but it really is. It's not just us; it's everybody. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who puts time and effort and your money into this. Everybody who's offered to come and help set up, who's offered to come and help paint tifos and play drums. It's all a sacrifice, but it's all for the greatest of goods. When I look back on 2020, March 7th, 2020, we always keep going back to that. And it's like, well, that was amazing. But this year, it was a year of amazing. It wasn't just one game, right? Like all of 2020 and leading into this year, we had one night to hold on to. And now we have 16, 17, 18 nights to hold on to, because we grew this the way that we always wanted to. We finally got our year to go back and really build this together. Looking back, the thank yous, they mean a lot. I will say that. I know Jerry and Drew, you guys pipe in here too. The thank yous mean a lot because it is a sacrifice, and I do appreciate that. But all I kind of want to say is thank you to everybody for contributing to the community that we've built. And I kind of just can't wait. It's nice that we can take a step back, we can take a break, we can kind of recharge. But memberships are coming up soon. Member meetings coming up soon. It's not going to be a long off season, I'll say that. And I'm really looking forward to getting things back going again.
Nice, love it.
Yeah, I'll just say
floating beer, Drew. Hey.
But yeah, this year has just the growth that the growth has been amazing. and Jerry, like you said, kind of looking around in the section. One of the last games, I forced myself to leave and go over to the middle of the stadium the other way and kind of look back and just, kind of take it in, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and just go, wow, this is pretty cool. It's that kind of image in my mind I'll always remember.
Yeah.
So
those were the special moments, and it sounds weird going to the bathroom like at halftime, right, or right after halftime, and I'd have to walk back maybe like 50th minute or 49th minute, right, and usually scores didn't happen then, which was nice, but those were special moments where you could kind of like just stand there at the top of the section or kind of a little bit removed and just say, this is incredible, like what's happening, and this group of people that was a dream of everybody who's in it 3 years ago. None of this existed.
No,
this
you're
was all
right.
a dream. And to be here after everything we've gone through and everything that people said we couldn't make work, and that we're a fair weather sports town and people don't give a shit, and they're never going to show up and scream their heads off at a sports team because that's not what San Diegans do or whatever. Like, who cares? Like, this, we all knew what it could be, and I think everybody's a part of it knew what this, what we wanted, and it's so beautiful just to have it. And so the rocket ship is just fueling up. We haven't even left the planet yet. Everybody's just boarding. So the cool part is next year we get to take off, and we'll see where it goes. Yeah. I think.
I like it. Which one of you guys is going to send us off?
I will say out of my favorite hosts, Jerry's my favorite co-host. So sorry, Steve.
Actually, I'm cool.
Mainly because he has the buttons that play the music, Steve.
No,
neither of us can.
No, go ahead. So one of you guys.
For the season recap episode, I think we're gonna hang around. You guys down to hang around? Jerry,
Yeah,
Drew?
I want to talk to Jerry a bit about what Jerry's up to.
All
right. We're going to hang around with 92 minutes in. My name is Steve Brokoff. I'm the president of the Locals. Proud to be so. Signing off for Drew Steck and Jerry Jimenez. Goodbye.
Yay!
I'm going to go pee.
And I don't have to edit an episode. I can just drop it right in.
I'm
so
gonna
nice.
drop it in right now. That's what
You can drop. You can drop it to me. You can drop. You can upload it or drop it, whatever you want. Dropbox, Upbox, whatever box you want to put it in, baby.
Whoa, hello.
Oh,
What's up, everybody?
Yeah.
Still hanging out.
Yeah, welcome to After Hours. That's what happens real fast. We did some of the Discord questions. I'll answer these while Steve's in the bathroom, and then we'll kind of go through. We wanted to talk about what Jerry was talking about in the podcast. Ooh, look at that.
This is crazy. That's
the podcast right there. Yeah. We're living on a chip in Jerry's hand. So, best save was one of the good questions from the Discord as well.
Are we going to go through Discord questions?
No, I'm just asking one or two, and then we can talk about... I want to talk about what you're doing a little bit, and I wanted to talk about it on the podcast, but what a fucking season, man.
Yeah, we had to talk about that.
Yeah, it's the season. There's two controversial questions, but let's say best save. Do you remember one?
Best save?
I think anyone where Guerrero left his feet went one-handed, and he did it so much. I mean, he's so good. The problem is, like, he does it like he's done it like 20 times this season, where he just like leaves his feet, goes up one-handed, and like Spider-Man's it out, right? Like, he can do it too. As I was saying, Siaha was great at that too. He did some stuff where it was just like with two hands too, where he would just place him in such a way that was really incredible. But Guerrero seems to be the master of the kind of one-handed back save in some ways. That's like, it's pretty incredible. It's incredible to watch. But what I always wonder is, like, how do people fall well? Like, I'm okay at falling, but like keepers are like really good at falling because they're essentially throwing their body. Yeah, I guess pads help, I guess, but
like, how much do they actually have though?
That's the thing, is like not much, and you can definitely bundle what's under there pretty hard. Who is your MVP of the Locals not in leadership, Jerry?
Oh, dude, that's a really tough question, but I'm gonna have
one answer.
Oh, I know what your answer. You have the self.
Craig. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say it's kind of self-promoting, but it's like
if it's anybody else, I might get in trouble. No,
I know.
Nick Duffy.
Well, Nick
But
is
he's in
now
leadership now, but he's in Congress now. So you
Oh,
can't
that's
say that.
right. Okay, so okay, cool.
Okay.
Hey, yeah, Craig Elston for sure. No, it was
Okay.
Yeah, Craig.
My answer is Paul Naku for all of the work that he's done with
You guys
us.
taking all my
Instagram. Yeah. Well, you asked the question, so you get to go last.
I know that's the problem.
Shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
There's too many to name. I'm
That's
gonna
my
say everybody in the comments who hasn't already been named. So Taylor,
Hey,
Jason,
you get it.
Afmir holding it down for the Midwest locals. Thanks, bro. Always staying up with us. We appreciate you.
Tay liking to start crap in my household. Like, stay out of this.
Should have said Nydia.
What a dick.
To be fair, the TIFO doesn't happen without her. So
Oh yeah, can we please go?
she's
buy
technically the MVP.
Can you go buy some stuff for my? Hey, if you have women and children, little baby girls specifically, or toddler girls in your family, go and buy dresses and stuff for my wife, please.
Yeah.
NidaFierro.com. It's easy.
She's a great designer on top of just being an incredible seamstress. She does just great design too. It runs in the family. It's like over in that Jimenez house. You guys got something in the water for design over there. I don't know.
She's amazing, and yes, I think she's definitely my favorite person in the world. But I'm gonna have to go with Craig Elston. Good question.
Duffy will Venmo you though later for the
Love
show.
you, Nick. Love you.
I mean, and there's a
More
shout.
Peter Jerry. Thank you.
There's a shout to Joshy here too. He's been there every game. That guy goes nuts.
Well,
And
Josh
Callum
and
with
Callum and the kids.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd just say that Caleb and kind of the kids, right? The
Randy.
youth element that's not just our kids, but kids, right? Kids who are just showing up, right?
I'll
We're like, where do these kids come from? But they're amazing young gentlemen, and they're just great guys, mostly.
This is hilarious. Very true. I got this handled, dude.
I know. He should be checking pH over there every day.
Oh, that's too good.
That's true.
Hilarious.
Really good.
But speaking of which,
yeah.
what is up in the Jimenez household? What are you doing these days, man? That when you're not doing local stuff, you're doing a lot of soccer stuff. What's up with that?
I get paid by the soccer, so I have to do stuff for them.
Yeah, but what made you wanted to get paid by the Soccers and pursue that? I think is kind of we've talked about a little bit here, but
man, dude. So here's the thing: is I never planned to work for a club ever. Like,
I know you said it, yeah.
That wasn't like a thing for me, right? And I think that so my relationship with Craig started because he listened to a podcast that I was doing for LAFC for a while. Podcast that I started, still going strong. Shout out to Heart of LAFC. But we build a strong relationship off of that. We just kind of like the same things. We are pretty good at just the supporter side of things. And he invited me. He's like, Craig said, "Hey, can you come and lend your talents to the soccer?" So I said, "Yes, I can absolutely do that." And obviously I told him it'd have to be part-time. I don't think you can afford me full-time. He said yes, come over. And so now dude, my title's so weird. It's like Chief Supporter Engagement Officer and Social Media Manager, which I'm doing more of the first part of it than the second part of it. It's very cool. It's very unique. I'm learning a lot. I'm stretching myself quite a bit. Drew, what is wrong with your face? I don't know what's
He's frozen. I think he's frozen. Let's take him off until he unfreezes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm taking him up.
There we go. There's the second Drew.
There's
I've been having issues all night, guys.
Second Drew.
Yeah, Drew 2 Cam. 2 Drew. Evil Drew. The upshot Drew.
Mhm.
Look at all my chins.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no. So my computer just tends to kernel. So the blue screen of death is what you get on Windows. What they call on a Mac, it's kernel panicking, where you see like a black screen of death. I've been getting that pretty much off and on for the last 2 weeks. So I can't tell if it's my OS or my graphics card because I haven't blown everything out. A lot of technical nerd shit. All everybody needs to know is that my computer just randomly resets whenever it feels like it during the day, which is great for work. It's great when you want to get off a work call that you don't want to be on. Oh, my computer just randomly reset. I don't know what happened. But for stuff like this, it's infuriating where I'm just like trying to like stay on a podcast. So we'll get it sorted here in the off season, but I apologize, everybody.
Right now. I'm out of beer.
There you go. Oh yeah, I know. I wish
better
we
get
can...
another one.
No, I mean like I'm out of beer.
It's best.
You're like
fresh.
out of beer.
It is best fresh. I switched to a Diamond Hands.
Ooh, nice.
Diamond Drive. I feel like it should be called Diamond Hands.
So I grew up in a little tiny town called Hopeville down in Imperial Valley, and they were the Vikings, and they had the green and yellow, and I've always had I've always liked the green and yellow together.
Yeah,
green and gold.
It works for the locals.
Beautiful.
There you go.
I like it.
It's like this is very Patrick Henry. So shout out.
Yeah.
Shout out Hopeville.
Patrick Henry.
Shout out Dave and Hendy Steck, my parents, who are in town for Thanksgiving. So that's cool.
Hey, what's Patrick Henry's mascot?
Patrick Henry.
It is literally.
Yeah, well, they're called the Patriots, but
Patriots.
Patrick Henry, like a picture of Patrick Henry, and then they use the Patriots logo with green and gold. So
very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
So Sal Zizzo was a Patriot, which is funny because he's very Italian. But
yeah, I mean, let's talk about while we're in the post game. Let's talk about Zizzo.
You mean Roy Kent? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that article came out that he did, and he said explicitly, I'd like to stay involved with Loyal. He's obviously retiring, but I think it'd be such a cool addition to have Sal on the coaching staff at some point. I mean,
I want him to be Roy Kent. Like 100%.
Obviously, we haven't really addressed the landed rumors and that kind of stuff, and if he's going to be back or whatever. But
we did last week.
I'm assuming. Okay, cool.
I think what Andrew said holds a lot of weight. He's been approached by multiple clubs, things we didn't even hear about. Like he said, 5 or 6 clubs. I think is what he said. Like to throw a number on it, and that's not a low number. And he said that's not it. And then on the interview with Darren Toot, Landon said specifically, "I'm definitely here next year, and I'm definitely I'm not looking to leave. Like there's nothing that would make me want to leave." But I don't know where I'll be mentally in 2 to 3 years and what I find challenging, right? Mm-hmm. But he still finds Loyal challenging, which I think is like the key thing, right? And as long as it piques his interest and he's here at home with his family, which is their home, it's I agree. I don't think there's a reason for him to leave. So that's why I don't think we've addressed it a lot. But there's more weight to it than we want to give because we don't want to give into that, I think, mentally. But
but going back to the Sal thing, like I hope he stays involved, right? He seems 100%. Like he was our first captain, first signing. My wife and I, Eileen, we painted that Sal banner that we did end up giving to him at the meet and greet, which was pretty rad. But I just hope he stays involved, right? I think he wants to live here. He obviously has 3 girls and now a son. It would be cool for him to stay involved with the club.
Yeah, even at some capacity with like Loyal Select would be really cool.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Like lend some advice, right? He's had a career, right? He's an MLS player. He's played in Portland and Atlanta,
MLS Cup champion,
Kansas City. Yeah, so he has a lot of experience to lend a lot of youth players and even players of 21, 22, 23 that maybe will never make MLS level, but just to keep at it and keep going. He's had some injuries his entire career, but he's powered through and look at him now. So. Yeah, I would love to see landed or not landed like Sal involved.
Yeah, I want to see him. Roy Kenning it up, just swearing at people on the touchline. What the fuck?
He's so funny. He's so good.
That'd be hilarious.
But especially next year if we're bringing like 9-10 players back, right? He wouldn't be a part of the match day squad. He'd be like a coach. Like that'd be funny as shit. Yeah,
that'd be really funny.
That's like true Roy Kent.
Yeah. As long as he doesn't do a weird thing on Match Day Live in between, where it's just he's not feeling it, and he's and then he walks off mid-show. Just for him, at least he doesn't have to run across town. It's a very short walk. He just has to walk from one, like literally the north side or the east, the west side of the pitch to the south side. That's all he's got to do. Not very hard.
I mean, heir apparent when Nate Landed leave, I think that's many years off, right? I mean, you can always say players are going to be coaches, but it always takes a few years. Maybe it is a few years. Maybe it is a few years.
Almost,
maybe
like
Landon's here 2 more years and Sal's on the coaching staff, and then it works out. That's not a bad shout.
Landon never leaves. That's the way the story ends, and then we become the U.S. men's national team. And then he coaches. I don't know, but like he never leaves. But yeah, I think I would love that. Would be my ideal, right? He coaches us for like 15 years. We rise to MLS at some point in like 7 years from now, where it's nice and arbitrary enough to where it doesn't feel like it kills our vibe. And then I'm saying 7, maybe it's like 5. And then after 10 years of great success, where we've won 6 MLS championships as a manager and as a player, and then he can retire from managing our team and then go manage the U.S. men's national team. That's the dream. But
you did say MLS, by the way. I think you meant to say USL for at least.
I think we win several USL championships. Then we get promoted. We're the first team ever in U.S. soccer to get promoted.
Yeah.
No, we actually get promoted. Fuck Don Garber. We're gonna take his league over. And we get promoted. This is the dream. It's my dream.
Dream, Drew. Go for it.
I'm gonna dream.
Get your clubhouse.
I'm getting my clubhouse. This is what I'm saying. I'm just spelling out what everyone's dream is, and then we can work back from there. But like that's the dream. Right?
Yeah, but you guys are calling.
We win USL, we win MLS, and then he retires and then goes coaches.
You guys are calling Salcido the Roy Kent, and all I could picture was him doing yoga with a bunch of ladies.
I could see that.
Actually,
yoga.
Actually, that's
yoga, right? Drinking wine and watching and talking.
I could see that. I watched that show.
Sorry, that's if you don't watch Ted Lasso, I don't know what you're doing with your life.
So funny.
There was a podcast in Portland that when he played there, they said they wanted to call his thing Zizos Appetizos.
Yeah.
So Zizos Appetizos. He can have it be a wine/yoga bar.
We just got to keep an eye on his Instagram and his wife's Instagram, and then we'll find once we find him doing yoga, we'll have him on the podcast. Because he always said he'd come back. He always said he'd come back on.
He did say we could say you've gone full Roy Kent now.
Yeah,
right? That's what we've heard.
Hey, so just like the last couple of days, no joke, Cecil started following me on Twitter, and I got like a little bit too excited. And I could think I'm like, woo, like at work. Wrong. Oh, like what? A legend started following me on Twitter.
The problem is when they unfollow you. Like that's the thing. It's like you don't want them to follow you, then unfollow you. That's the worst. So it's like,
let me make sure he's still following me.
I know. Well,
maybe it was an accident.
Maybe it was an accident.
He's like, get rid of all this soccer shit. Man, what's this, man?
He's like, what is this guy? I feel like never mind. No, it says follows you still.
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah. I was just saying, like 3 months down the line.
Love yourself, Cecil. Don't ever unfollow me. Don't ever unfollow me. Just follows you.
But for the people still tuned in and maybe watching later on YouTube,
I still get that jolt anytime a player follows me. Even though I like just talked to him at like a thing and had a conversation, and then you go home and they like follow you, you're like, I feel cool. You never don't feel cool.
Oh, yeah.
Steve, what were you saying before Drew interrupted you?
Sorry.
I was gonna say for the people still listening / watching later. We have a lot going on this off season right now. We're kind of reevaluating elections processes. We're reevaluating the bylaws to make things a little more accessible for people. So stay tuned. We've been promising this membership meeting. It's probably going to happen in January. December just seems like it's too soon to kind of plan things out.
We have a Hail Mary idea, but we'll see. It has to come together in like 3 to 4 days. You'll hear about it in a week. If not, it'll be in January.
Right. And then membership meeting in January, memberships in January. But otherwise, it's going to be a lot of the same.
Awesome.
If you,
but
I will say,
there's some cool ideas. I don't know. We've already
Yeah.
next year. I think in some ways it'll be dramatically different in approachability. I think that's our goal, right? Like we want to be way more approachable, and in a way that we can invite people into what we're doing, but not dramatically change. I think what you're saying, more of the same. We don't want to dramatically change the effort and the style of what we bring to matches. I think we just want to bring more people, more diversity of thought, and more songs. I think are the general like 3 things that most locals would say they want to see. And that takes time and that takes work over the off season to kind of create drum circles and pitch in that way. So we'll have a lot of avenues for you to approach, appreciate, promote and push in your ideas where you want to. So that's kind of our key hinges, I think.
Just kind of stay tuned. We're working behind the scenes while also taken some time to recharge.
Yeah, that's the other thing is like
Yeah.
everybody, time off is good.
It's a balance. It's a balance.
I love this club so much, but like, and I love this city. You got to take time. You got to always take
It's a
time.
balance.
Otherwise, you burn yourself out.
But if
Some
you're
of
like
us
me,
take time in the middle of the season. That's what I do. No, but
but if you're like
it's-
me and don't take breaks, let's all go hang out at some soccer games.
that's what I was going to say. Is
Hey, Jack Blake, hold on. So what is this Jack Blake official 12i? What is that? Is that like his Instagram or something?
Jason shared this in the Discord earlier, and it's hilarious. It's like, I'm pretty sure imposter Jack Blake.
Really?
Oh my
Is
god!
it on Twitter?
Like, and that's cool. Like, I want to reach a level where somebody has an imposter account of me. That would be pretty cool.
So because of this, I was like, wait a minute, does Jack Blake follow me? And I was like, that's not his. So I'm looking at this. I'm like, that's not his, his Twitter account. Well, what do you know though? He does follow me on Twitter too. And I was like, what the heck? And I mean like the actual Jack Blake, not Jack Blake the imposter.
Oh, and Instagram. Jack Blake official 12i.
Oh, okay.
But where else I was
Very
going with that was in the off season. Besides the bylaws, kind of things behind the scenes, we want to keep this podcast going. Drew, you mentioned Landon, talked about players returning. I'd love to get those players returning on the podcast, do some interviews, thoughts on last season, thoughts on the next season, how they can improve, those kind of stuff. So we definitely want to keep things going. So kind of stay tuned.
Yeah. No, I think that's the idea, right? We want to have more interaction. I think part of that this season too was doing interviews with players becomes harder in certain circumstances where you don't feel like it shoehorns in. And I think the place I like to do it is where we can just kind of have fun with them. It's hard during the season because you almost bring the expectation of games. So trying to be fans and have a fan interview or a supporter interview with them is always a very delicate balance.
Well, and
versus off season's a little bit easier usually.
And we're obviously leadership of a supporters group, right? There's an independence here. Like, I don't want to have a player on and be like, you were not playing good or you are playing good. Like, there's a little bit of a separation there. That's like
we're not
in the off season. It's a little bit better to be like, let's reflect and let's look forward.
Yeah, let's have fun
together than like being a journalist or media. Like, we're supporters, right? It's different.
We have our lens.
There's a line.
We know. Yeah, exactly. We know where our lens goes. So
right.
You can listen to two balls, bust players. No, I'm just
that's two balls and fair pod. Like that's
fair pod.
You know what I mean? Like that's not our purpose. Yeah.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And so
in the offseason,
but we do I love talking to players and I've loved what we do it and they're always great on the pod. I do think that's just the struggle we have during the season for everybody wonders. It's like you think about like, oh, we can have them on, but it's like then you have them on and then they like don't play well. It's like all those things where you're just like
and I'd love to get landed on at some point. Just to kind of recap the season and do a little bit of looking forward to. I'm trying to be respectful of, it was a long season for him too. So I know he's taking some time to recoup. But probably over the next three-ish weeks, we should be able to make that happen.
Dude, he was like our first official streamed pod.
Remember that was the day we were at Drew's house and we were like, let's
just call him.
I'll just shoot him a text and see if he answers. And he's like, yeah, I'm in. I'm like, really cool.
What?
Well, the best part was we did it. And like, now looking back, it's like the club must've been like, what the fuck is
I do wonder how they were.
Because they're like,
it didn't go through their channels at all.
What did they ask us? They're just pulling in the manager. No.
Anybody who's still on that hasn't listened to episode 1, please swipe on back to episode 1.
You have to listen to
I'm sure I was terrible, but yeah, that was a fun day.
I'm sure
you got all of you were terrible.
Shut up, Jerry.
That was both of us. It's both of us who didn't do a podcast for like 2 years before this podcast. I was very rusty.
You get better as you go. See?
Yeah. No, Jerry was the pro and still is. Still the master.
You know what? I'm out of practice though. I need to work on it a little bit.
Yeah, you're a little bit out of practice.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's all right.
Whatever. I don't care. I'm your guest today. I don't know what the hell you're talking
I know you don't have to do shit. The fact that you did the open is like, boom.
You're never a guest here. You're never a guest at your own house.
This is your house.
Yeah, you started interviewing me and then just completely.
We kept the posters up in your room, Jerry. Okay. Yeah. We didn't touch anything. We left it like
when
you
come home for
Christmas.
Christmas.
Died. No,
Yeah.
you were like a child that died, and then
Thanks, mom
we
and
sealed
dad.
it off.
Whatever. You totally put in the gym. Don't even lie.
Hey, it's a couple shake weights.
We kept the poster, but we brought
Just a
in
couple
the
shake weights.
Peloton.
No, your room was for drum stores. That's why it's here.
That's true.
Oh. Dude, I love that drum so much.
Yeah.
It's so good
Yeah.
looking.
Shouts to Alan.
Shouts to Alan.
Come on.
How he
Come
fucking
on.
plays this
Also,
90
always
minutes
welcome on
every
this pod.
how he does this 90 minutes every game is nuts.
It doesn't move. It's only his wrist. It's like.
I know.
He's a
But
machine.
then so I text him after I did this for 90 minutes, the one game you weren't there and Alan wasn't there, and my shoulder was killing me, and he's like, use your wrist. And I was like, yeah, but I use my wrist, then I get out of rhythm. So I can't. And he's like, oh yeah, fair. I'm like, damn, dude, how do you do
Underwood.
that? And then you did it for 45 and you were like, how does he do that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hard.
I did it for 5 minutes, and I was like, how does he do that?
It's hard. It's hard. It's really
so
hard.
I did it for like during the LA, I think it was the LA match where like nobody was drumming, and I was like, why am I the person doing this right now? But it was like, yeah, it's stuff like that where you're just like,
At
how
some
does
point.
he do it? And then shout out to all drummers, man. You guys are freaking awesome. I can't keep rhythm to save my life. So that's why I can do it 5 minutes at a time. Also,
that was another point of this
speaking
year.
of
That was my
Craig,
first time
Jerry,
drumming.
I was listeing to not to spoil their Padres Hot Tub secret stuff, and you should definitely be a Patreon of their beautiful Padres Hot Tub podcast that they do. And he did a wonderful one with Jerry promoting Cheeto FC and everything that's going on over there as well. And I won't press you too much for Cheeto FC tonight because I know you're like pushing to make it happen. If you want to talk about it, you can. But Craig is a trumpet player. He's like an all-star brass
Excuse me?
player as a kid. I heard that he like played trumpet incredibly as a child and then like kind of gave it up in high school or college or something. So
He is about to relearn.
I don't want to lose his voice, but when he loses his voice, like maybe at like the 60th minute, it's like, hey Craig, you don't have to play trumpet all game, but maybe bring us home the last 15, 20 minutes. If those lips are still up for it, I don't know. But that was something I heard between him and
That's amazing.
another a friend on their special little podcast over there. So
Yeah,
maybe we can rip him in.
They used to call him Craig Louis Armstrong Elston. It's weird.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna text him tomorrow morning.
Just be like, dude, I heard you play trumpet. But yeah, no, if you listen to their Patreon show, one of the latest banters with
That's
it,
badass.
they were talking about that. So I was like,
behind.
I kind of had an eye on that. I was like, wait a second, Craig, you were hiding this. You were sandbagging us a little bit on the trumpet playing, but I don't want to force it into him or anybody who doesn't want to. But
Hey,
I
Craig,
was like, wait a second.
Craig, we're gonna need you to Herb Alpert your ass into 109, please.
Hell yeah.
And play something
Somebody's
fun
gotta
and brass, bro. Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh. If you guys don't know
Spanish
what
Flea.
brass from Adrian.
I know what the fuck
Dude,
you're
yes,
talking
there you
about.
go. Spanish Flea, yes. Dude. I'm gonna have to play it.
Yeah.
You think we'll get
Herb
flagged?
Alpert is one of my favorite artists of all time, Jerry. That's pretty much what's playing in my house.
Yeah, nice. I like it. Used to have a bunch of records growing up of like Taste of Honey. Oh, dude.
Yeah, Taste of Honey is beautiful. The women on the covers of those albums are also gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Herb Alpert knew what he was doing.
Do you think we'll get flagged for playing Herb Alpert? I'm not even sure if it's still like it's so old.
Some record
those
company
bots.
owns this, and they're
Those
definitely
bots.
gonna flag
Yeah,
it.
they got bots. They got YouTube bots.
The problem is when
Herb
you play
Alpert.
the problem is when you play
Shut it down.
the video clips. That's when they really take you down. Is what
Really?
I've seen with Two Balls and Us. Two Balls more so because they do a lot of different stuff. But when we played Dear Sister, like the second we played Dear Sister, NBC was like, no.
Done.
And so
Yeah,
all I had to do was
they just have mining bots that go through every video and listen
I
to
literally
it.
just had to go in and cut out the
Yeah.
clip where we played it. I cut that out
You're
of the
fine.
video, and then it just reaccepted
Yeah.
it. So that's all it is. Hi, YouTube. I know you're listening. If anybody else is.
So how don't we get nailed for Bucko 9?
They give us.
They just don't care.
No, we've worked it out to where whatever their deal is. Well, our videos are unpaid, so we don't take money off of them. Right?
Got
So
it.
we say
We're not
we're
paid
okay with
for
taking
them.
unpaid content.
Yeah.
But or we have rights reserved. So it's one or the other. Either their record company is okay with it, or we don't take money. And that's usually how most music clips work. It's just one of those things where with video they just shut you down completely.
Yeah, that's the other thing. That's a really interesting thing because obviously we talked to to the band for a little bit, and we
Yeah.
were supposed to hang out more with them, but it never happened.
We should get them on the show
They
too.
weren't. They were
That'd be cool.
never. They were never like. There was never a problem to them. So I think that it was just a thing that they allowed us to do. It's just
Yeah.
because like for example, if you guys didn't know this, Fair Weather Pod, their intro music is My Town. It's just redone instrumentally by Alan.
Oh,
If you go back and listen to it, it's actually My Town. It's just their own theme,
really?
so that they don't get flagged or they don't get in
Ooh.
trouble. Go back and listen to it.
I didn't notice that. Okay, now I'm going to. I didn't
Yeah.
notice that, but I don't. I
So
usually skip
basically,
through the
Alan
intro.
rewrote.
I can hear it in my head right now, and you're totally right. Yeah,
I usually skip
like
through
the
the
theme-
intro.
Already makes sense.
So, yeah. Let me see. Now I have to find it. So I want to play it. I was listening to the end of season episode recently.
I'm so behind. I have like 5 podcasts I want to listen to. I just don't have time. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a minor version.
I like it.
My town, my beat, give me these
I'm gonna play it all because I don't want to get flagged by Fair Weather Podcast.
I know I sound just like them. So I should really stop.
We're gonna get a text from Alan tomorrow.
Text that. Hey,
What the
man.
fuck are you guys doing?
Cease and
My shit.
desist, bros.
Oh, actually, Fairweather's now a part of the Locals. I don't know if you knew that, but we absorbed it. And it's part of TV now. So we'll have you anytime, though, kiddos. Speaking of which, Super Pod around the corner sometime soon.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Get everybody together.
So that's what I was gonna ask before I have to go to bed because I have to wake up.
Yeah, I think we should. It's about 2.
But I was
This is
gonna
a
ask,
good pod.
what's the goal for the off season? Are you guys gonna be doing more of these? Like, gonna keep it going?
Yeah, I want to keep, like I was just saying, I want to keep doing players, like as they
Oh,
announce,
that's right. You did say that. Okay.
or if we get word that players are re-signing, stuff like that. I'd
Yeah,
love
they
to.
officially
We
won
want to
all
say, if they were a part of last season, like reflection on last season and kind of looking forward.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
I
I'd love
would-
to. I'd love to do another Super Pod. That was super fun at the beginning of the season.
I would like to do it in person.
That'd be fun.
Ooh, that'd be even cooler.
That'd be super cool.
I'm gonna invite
Or
my-
do some stuff in person. Like
You gonna
have
invite
Jack
yourself?
Blake, like meet Jack Blake out somewhere, right? Like you and I, or whoever, or whoever wants to go. 10 of us, we all go hang out with Jack Blake and
Yeah.
record a podcast, right? Like,
That's a
that would be
cool
fun.
idea.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, and honestly, like,
Ricardo's
he's
like, nah. Nah,
well, he's signed here, right? So he's gonna be living here.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I don't see why
There's one.
he might
Yeah.
not want to. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
Somebody like that. And even Landon, right? Trying to meet people out a little bit. Now that we can do some of this to where we can meet up, especially in our hometown if they're around.
Yeah.
And we can throw them a couple weeks ahead of time where the reason to podcast is actually to meet up and podcast. So I think that'd be kind of fun to do some of that if we can, just because we don't have a game every other weekend or whatever, or do it at the shop. There you go. I mean, we're not a token podcast being paid by the club, so I don't know if we'll do that, but just kidding.
No, I mean, it's just gonna be where we can, if we can.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
If,
No,
if
I would
that
love to
works
do
out,
that
it'd be
at the shop.
great. But yeah, it's gonna be, it's gonna be like, what do you want to do? Hey, Drew, Jerry, what do you want to do next week? Let's make this happen. It's not gonna be like, way thought out, but we'll see how things work.
I think we should try. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I say by we, I haven't totally invited myself to do this because this sounds fun. Like fun.
For the super pod, yeah, that's a rad idea. Doing that
I
in
think it
person would
would
be a
be
super
fun.
cool idea.
Yeah, there's a few. Thorn Brewing are partners. There's a great place off their original place off Thorn.
Barrio.
The upstairs there would be amazing. There's got
Or
a
Barrio
huge
Logan
booth.
upstairs.
Barrio Logan. Either one would be great. So you've
Yeah.
got like a booth or just a section where you can kind of get everybody on like a stool or something. I think that'd be kind of fun. I don't know.
Everybody here, go buy merch from our shop so that we can get a clubhouse.
Yeah, the clubhouse is alive. That's dream number one.
It's a rad idea. It's just
Financially
Yeah.
incredibly unfeasible until one of us
San
hits the
Diego.
lottery and puts the money directly
do you
into
guys-
it.
You guys think we all fit into a 1-bedroom apartment? I'd be able to afford that.
I think a storage. We could
a
do
3x5
a
storage
unit.
space.
Yeah, we could get a storage unit and then do that. Actually, to be fair, Steve, 5x10s are going off at a really good rate, so we can get a good 5x10.
All right.
Yeah.
So I just need to sit on Jerry's lap, not Jerry's head.
Oh,
exactly. Or shoulders. You do the chicken fight thing. That works too. Be the entertainment. As well as the seat.
Guys, I get like itchy. I don't know why.
Oh yeah, beard? You got that beard there, man. That's thick.
Crazy. I need to clean it up.
Are you gonna be Santa Claus for Christmas?
No. I'm not.
So my next question is, when am I going to cut this? When am I going to cut my hair? It's coming. It's coming soon. And how am I going to do it? I don't know. We'll see.
Don't do it.
Mohawk.
Don't do it.
Ooh, Mohawk. For like one day.
Yeah. Go Mohawk for a day, and then kind of merge it into like corporate normal haircut eventually, and then kind of let it grow back out. But
Tory Green, then cut it.
Ooh,
that'd be good too. Tory Green.
Let's see. We'll see. I'll think about it.
I'll take
those into consideration.
Make a bet that's crazy that you're like, I'll cut my hair if we lose. Crazy. Then if you actually win, be like, I'm still gonna cut it.
Be like, I'll cut my hair, but don't get Landon on the podcast. And then we get Landon on the podcast, be like, Landon's gonna cut my
snip.
Hair.
And he's gonna cut it. I didn't tell you this, but you're cutting my hair.
Just hand him some clippers and see where he goes.
AOD.
We could have Nate on and do it. Be like, Nate, draw your tactics in my head.
He probably would. Be too fancy about it.
The fullback goes from the.
Start anew for 2022.
Yeah, Bryce Harper is a Giant, so we don't talk about him on this podcast. Sorry, Taylor. He's a Vegas guy. I love Bryce Harper. Or Bryce Harper, not Bryce Harper. I was thinking Bryant, not Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper plays for what's their face?
Phillies.
Yeah.
Phillies, dude.
Phillies give him all the money.
I was
Phillies.
like, did you say Giants?
I was thinking Chris Bryant. And it's because we always saw that poster of him at USD in the outfield. Like, it's seared in my mind now. So, from the parking lot. I don't know. Chris Bryant lives rent-free in my head. That's what I'm saying. He should be a signing for us next year. That's all I'm saying.
There's still 10 people on here. Who's even on here? Comment?
Yeah. Comment.
Yeah, leave us a comment. Leave us. What do you want to talk about, guys?
And why? That was why you're
because
here.
we're good.
Hey, remember that? Remember earlier this season when we interviewed Ryan? We were on this until like 1:15, 1:30.
Oh, Ryan was the best.
We were on here so late.
Well, it's mainly just like, let's hang out.
Probably one of my favorite episodes.
That was awesome.
If we had Ryan live, how long do you think we could have gotten? 5 hours?
Ooh.
Just held him captive.
Show us all your footage.
I think he knows better now. He's like, I need to cut it off.
He got yelled at by the boss the next day. Oh, Ryan, we love that you're transparent to our club, but let's call it at about 2.5 hours next time.
I feel like
jokes on you, Jason, because my wife's asleep. She never watches any of my stuff.
Yeah, Lydia's passed out.
I have a resentful shrug when I roll into bed after this usually. It's from my dog. It's not from
the kid. Lydia will do that exact thing though, but she'll also do an eye roll, a shrug, and then roll over and face her back at me like.
Yeah, or I'll get a peek in the doorway. You still.
Well, Jerry, are you going upstairs? Are you going upstairs with 3 humans in your bed?
I think so, yeah.
Oh man. Well, they form together. Elias and Diego form one full size Jerry, in terms of like a human mass. So
when I go to bed, we become the Dragon Zord. It's fucking weird.
Are we talking Power Rangers again, guys? Come on.
Yes.
God damn it.
Super Astro Megazord.
Hey Drew, before I go, what's your favorite off-brand cereal?
Oh my god.
The one with the Dracula that's like not Count Chocula, but it's like another Dracula who's like the lower. Like most of them choose other mascots. They're like Kangaroo Ruse or whatever. Like they choose like a totally different brand mascot But the ones that are like I think it's a Dracula where it's like Count, like not Chocula, but like Count Cocoa, and you're like, wait, totally same guy, just like his weird cousin. That's my favorite.
Dude,
Anyone where they have a weird cereal mascot for off-brand cereal.
There's one that they just like stopped even trying. They call it Crisp Rice. Like crisp rice. Like really? Like literally just you guys look up off-brand cereal. It's fucking hilarious.
It's the best.
Cocoa Nuggets instead of Cocoa Pebbles.
Oh, I gotta find out what this is. Off-brand Count Chocula.
So good. Yes, we're talking about cereal. My wife
always about cereal.
Dude, that sounds
Ferratu bites. Yeah, it's not a real one. I'm pretty sure it's a joke. Frankenberry, but that's by General Mills.
No, that's General Mills. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still not off-brand.
See, I'm just sitting here waiting until Bryce is old enough to eat sugar cereal so I can eat it all. No.
Dude,
that's what I'm waiting for. And then Lydia will be like, why is he out of cereal? I don't know. This kid eats a lot.
This is why my wife doesn't watch this because I'm about to throw her under the bus right now. She lets my kids have all the cereal they want, and they're kids, and they're all in love with Fruit Loops, and they don't leave any cereal for me whatsoever. Like
that was my dad and my house for sure.
Our house breakfast and dinner is usually gonna be waffles, like Eggos, or it's gonna be Cinnamon Toast Crunch or Fruit Loops. Like that's literally.
Uncle Drew has a waffle maker and likes to make Belgian waffles. So if they ever want some good Belgian waffles, you can ship them over here.
Sorry, now we gotta really go, dude. He said we're not gonna finish. Well,
hey, hi Capri. Hi Capri.
Hi Capri. We'll see you on Saturday, Capri. I'm feeling better, so I think I'll definitely make it Saturday.
Okay, y'all. I'm out of here.
Same. This is a good episode.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for hanging out.
Great episode.
We'll see you soon.
Love having you back, Jerry. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Next week is Thanksgiving, so we're probably off. But the week after that, we'll probably try to get somebody on.
Nice.
Yeah. Enjoy Thanksgiving. Hug your loved ones. Love you.
Hug your loved. Oh, I'm gonna end in a really sad note. Is that okay?
Please.
Yeah. Oh.
But maybe.
But why you should hug your loved ones?
Well, it's something to reflect on. Actually, we're gonna just because it happened today, and it's like you just brought something up, and it brought it up. Okay, so make sure, like I'm gonna tell you right now, I love you guys. Make sure you tell your people that around you that you love them, please, because you don't know what will happen tomorrow. I got a call this morning. I'm literally about to leave my house, and one of my coworkers calls me, says he woke up and his mother's not breathing, and they had the paramedics go out there in the middle of the day. I get a call from him saying his mom passed away, just like out of nowhere. This thing happened, and I know that's kind of rough to hear, but it's also a really good reminder, a really quick reminder of the fact that we sometimes wait to tell somebody that you love them, or that how you feel about them, how much you care about them, how proud you are of being in their lives. And I would hate for anybody here that has the opportunity to tell somebody they love them not have the chance to do that. So with that seriously being said, I'm sorry to bring it down, but it's something that literally important. Just happened. That happens. It happens a lot. And here, part of what we do to kind of bring it back into this universe, seriously, the supporter culture we're building here is a family. And just remember that we are all part of your extended family, whether you like it or not. You're putting up with us forever. That's it, guys. Have a great night, everybody. Love you, Steve. Love you, Drew.
Love you guys too.
Love you in the chat. See you guys later. Bye.
Adios.
Bye.